Is it coming? Okay, now we're live. Give it a second here. I put it on my phone too to help my algos a little bit.
That's fine. Do you usually get people in the YouTube chat?
Yeah, I do. So if you can you see the chats?
Yeah, I gotta open it again because right now there's no one there.
Yeah, there's no one there yet. But so I have a bunch of gun people who follow me because of do you follow Terribly Tactical now on YouTube? I want
Terribly.
you to come on his show too, but he does it Sunday nights.
I can do Sunday nights.
You can? Okay.
Yeah, I just can't do Friday night, and I technically could do Saturday night depending on what time it's at. Usually the Sabbath is now ending around 9:30 for me. But
Does it change? Does the time?
yeah, it changes based on the calendar. So, sundown to sundown, basically. So in the winter, the Sabbath starts at 5:15 in the after late afternoon, but it ends at 6 o'clock p.m. In the summer, sundown is significantly later, so the Sabbath starts later.
Okay. And it's just one, you got to do one full day of it. That's
Yep, you completely unplug from Friday night to Saturday night.
That's probably a good habit anyway. Like that was good that they set that up, especially with how the world is now with
God,
technology.
I used to hate it. I'm the first one to admit it. I used to hate our Sabbath um, growing up, before I had a wife and kids, because it's like you're one day off. You don't want to just spend around doing nothing, right? It's like you're a teenager. You want to get out there. But now that I'm married with 4 kids, I can't even tell you, just unplugging from the world and just spending time with your family without any interruptions, without any, you know, uh, cell phones or computers or TVs. It really is a very mentally healthy thing to do for once a week.
Hell yeah. They set that. They knew what they were doing when they set that rule. I mean, and anyone could do it outside of religion too, right? Everyone could unplug for a
Yeah,
day
I
or
mean,
whatever.
we have a lot of customs and stuff we do on our Sabbath, but I mean, I urge people when people are like that sounds amazing. I'm like, so just do it.
Just do
Just
it.
just try to do it. Try to do it for try putting your phone down for 12 hours. Go on a hike. Go on a walk. Don't no photos, right? Like you want to work out, even go work out, but don't take photos or video of you working out. Just completely unplug, and it's so mentally healthy.
It is good. That's why you're so chill. So everyone who's watching, this is Yehuda. That's I said it right. Yehuda.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yehuda. He is on Twitter as the Pew Pew Jew. He also has a YouTube channel, so everyone go subscribe to him if you're not. But he obviously, hi Icy Hot. He, we met because obviously you're the Pew Pew Jew. You're very, and I had you on when I had my Jewish roundtable, which was great. I love
That
it.
was fun.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
oh, there you're chatting too. Nice. Do you do a lot of you do a fair amount of YouTube stuff, right?
Actually, I do a lot of YouTube, but usually on other people's show. I don't. I have a YouTube page. I really need to start using it more. I'm really thinking about starting like an official Pew Pew Jew podcast, and just having fun guests and stuff like that.
You
But
should.
I know, it's just a matter of a work in progress. I've been talking with people about using StreamYard and how to get that up there, how to get that set up, and was it I think it's called Beanpod, something like that, to kind of like it it takes your recording off wherever you're doing it. You upload it once, and then it kind of throws it out to all the podcast platforms at the same time. I think it's like $9 a month to do that, so saves you a lot of time.
Yeah. Hey, Alice. Alice will be on tomorrow night with me for Scissor Me Timbers. um, was it? Yeah. I bought a year of Streamyard. I don't know, probably last September, and I don't even use it. You can do a lot more with it, which I don't. So and then it goes
Yeah,
to so like right now we're on Twitter and YouTube, and then I have Odyssey, so then Odyssey gets it from YouTube eventually. Hey, Mr. Biggs.
So yeah, I know for me, if I end up doing it, working in the firearms industry, I think you can get StreamYard. I forgot what the a yearly rate is for like the pro whatever it is, but I'm sure I can ask one of my buddies who owns a firearms company, like, hey, do you want to sponsor the official podcast? And I have
That's
no
how you
doubts.
keep your money and don't spend your own money. You have other people
Exactly.
spend.
Exactly.
This is a Jew trick. This is a Jew trick that everyone needs to pick up. It's true though.
But
It's true.
no, it's easy. It's just you get someone to sponsor your podcast, and they get free advertisement, depending on how big you are, your name. But I've been told by lots of people, even with my Instagram account, my main one being throttled back so bad. I've been told by so many people, like, you got to just get on YouTube, start a podcast. Um,
They were
so yeah.
throttling you on Instagram, you said?
Oh, my main account. Woo, I can't even. Let me see. Let me see if I can find that photo. If I still have it. I have a photo that I took on Instagram. Who did I just send it to? Oh, that's who I did. Okay. Um, I just sent this to someone on Instagram. Where I am so confused right now. Oh, I know why. Okay, here we go. Let's download it. So my main account on Instagram at the Pew Pew Jew has 14,000
Dang.
6
4.6.
yeah, 14.6. What I'm about to send you, I'll send it to you on Twitter because I have it right here. Here we go. This is a 3-month total of accounts reached. I just sent it to you, like 3-month
And it
total.
was a lot more. You could tell something's different.
Well, I mean, you can look at that. I mean, that's just the accounts reached. I've only reached 14,000 people in 3 months. I have
Oh.
more followers. And if you look right under that, do you see the image that I sent you?
Yeah, I
So
got
you see
it.
it says accounts reached, and then look right under it. It says negative 96% versus December 15th to March
Yes,
14th.
you were getting a lot more. You were getting
So
96% more before.
yeah, so do you know? So so it's been rough. My business has taken a massive hit because I've lost my main source of
Was Instagram your
marketing.
most where you
That
got
was my
them?
most, yeah. That
Okay.
that's where I was doing all my stuff. I only got into Twitter about a couple months back, just because, like, right when you and I officially met a few months ago on Twitter. That's when I started really doing Twitter a lot, just because I my main account on Instagram is killing me, and I'm building my backup. My backup
This is
has
a
like
Chew
three.
one, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It ends with Chew. Is that your backup one? Isn't that you?
No, no. My backup is literally it's the Pew Pew Jew backup.
Oh,
That's my backup account, and that one. I mean, I've been looking. I'll post the exact same post on my backup account and my main account, and there's a 11,000 follower difference, and my engagement is on the smaller account is 15 times greater than the one that has 11,000 people more. So it's been a rough patch, but I definitely am enjoying Twitter now. I've never, like I said, I never really did Twitter, but I'm really enjoying all my back and forths and
it's pretty addictive, isn't it? I got into
it it
Twitter.
it is. And one thing I realized about Twitter, and something that I never really taught, I never reason why I never did Twitter. In order to be successful on Twitter, you need to be somewhat witty and pretty sharp and quick, right? You can't like burn a person who posts something if the post is from like 3 days ago. It's
Right.
it's like been there, done that. So I guess in the last bunch of years since I launched my Twitter that I wasn't using it, in the last bunch of years, I've really come out of my shell a lot based on when I started getting into social media and based on when my first books came out and stuff like that. So I've really come out of my shell. I've really, I guess, became a lot more witty and not afraid to speak my mind, if you will.
Worldly. Do the Jews use the word worldly? Like you're
Yeah,
not
no,
okay.
absolutely.
You've
Yeah.
become worldly because you're a friend. But I'm worldly too, but I'm also very chill and cool. So,
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm very cultured, right? I didn't grow up I didn't grow up sheltered in any way. So, I can talk to you about books and the classics and film and television and I mean, you name it. I can go through everything. So I'm very cultured and very worldly about all this stuff. Um, I just never was witty and I was very behind the scenes. But like I said, ever since my first book came out and I've had to force myself to be in the spotlight, um, yeah, it's been a lot more fun. And yeah,
you found a good corner of Twitter too with all of us crazy
yeah,
liberty
no,
people.
absolutely. And it's not even just that, right? Like a lot of like this group of our little niche, our little group, if you will, are very um they have your back, right? So I you and I just talked a few days ago how like I post something and you immediately retweet it, right? Lots of people who don't have 20 close to 25,000 followers just retweets that will just retweet so much of the same person, right? Why? Because a lot of these people are like, "Oh, look at me. I have 25,000 followers. I have 50, 60, 100,000 followers. I'm too cool to deal with the small people." But the little group that we have are so forthgiving. Just anytime I post something, you'll see it and you just retweet it to all your followers, and it definitely helps me. There's no question about that.
It's so
So
easy. It's all about hyping people, and it's so easy on the internet. You might as well hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, like share
you know,
shit. It's
it,
easy.
it's it is so easy to do it, but it's shocking how little people actually do it. Right? Everyone is in it for themselves, unless you're like unless you're part of like a big name group, right? Like I'm just gonna say like the Turning Point USA people, right?
Right.
That there's no way in hell they would ever, and I have friends who are at Turning Point who are ambassadors of Turning Point, and I love them. But they're like in this own little we're in this cool group and they would never like retweet or you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we unless you're in our group, we won't deal with you. I mean, Turning Point I've noticed a lot of those like conservative groups are like that. And I've realized I'm like, look, at the end of the day, all these groups, I get what they're in it for, but they just aren't they're not willing to help other people grow. It's all about them and their growth. And you're like, oh, we got to get more conservatives. Well, if you see a conservative or even a libertarian who is posting great stuff but they don't have 80,000 followers, well, get their message out there. That's how you're going to build the party. That's how you're going to build more people. And people just tend to forget that or choose to ignore it.
Yeah, that's true. Hold on. Hey, Joe Morgan. Hey, Randy. Hey, Jesse. Yeah, any chick can get thousands of followers. I got almost 25. I'm just kidding. But people liked what I said. Like when I first, because I started on Twitter basically right when COVID, all that bullshit hit, right? And it was amazing all the messages I got because I was just saying what I said. I was off of Facebook and stuff, and I was like, I need to say this stuff. And so many people were messaging me and reaching out to me, like, thank you for saying this stuff. And I was like, okay, then I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep being me. So
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
it's what you can do in life.
And Randy Ravis, I probably could have an in-depth discussion
The
on the
boxcar
Boxcar
show.
Children. I mean, it's been a while since I read them, but I remember when I was like 8 years old or 9 years old when the books first started coming out. I was excited because I got like the first 20 books, and I was like, yes, I have the whole set. And now there's like a billion more, and my kids are beginning to read it too. So it's pretty cool to see them reading it.
Hey, Constitutional Carpenter. Probably about half of the people who are on here are going to be gun people, so we can talk gun shit whenever you
Ooh.
want to.
Oh, I love gun stuff. I just finished building this baby. It's my 300 Blackout.
Okay.
Which way? This way. So it's going to be cool. It's going to have as soon as it comes in, it will have a suppressor sitting inside the barrel. Sorry, inside the handguard.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going to look awesome. So this is my new 300 blackout.
And what kind? What? Oh, you froze up if you're still there. But oh yeah, there you
Nope,
are. What kind of bullets you were shooting with that?
300 blackout.
What
The caliber is called
caliber?
300. Yeah, the
There's a
caliber is called
300.
three.
It's just
It's called
300.
300 blackout.
Someone asked,
Uh,
is that 11.5?
It's 10 and a half.
Okay. Damn.
It is 10 and a half. Yeah. So it's kind of a Franken gun. I put a lot of pieces from different companies. I've got an upper and lower from Third Gen Tactical, Midwest Industries rails. The barrel is a Sons of Liberty Gunworks. I got a CMC flat face one stage. So it's kind of like some of my favorite companies. It's just, yeah, it's awesome. It's my baby. I love it.
Very nice.
Yeah, and like I said, as soon as that freaking suppressor, as soon as the ATF approves me, which hopefully they still will at this point.
Are you FFL? Do you have FFL?
So that's funny. I personally don't have my own FFL. However, I have a very good buddy of mine who has an FFL here in Texas. And when he renewed his FFL, he put my name as one of the like on the FFL. So really, I kind of do have an FFL, but I don't.
All right. You don't have to pay a bunch of money to keep it, right? Or do you
No,
help?
no, I don't. He put it on. He put my name on it without telling me. So like, I just get all the perks of, anything that I want now. I have like the wholesaler account, so I'm like, ooh, here's a trigger that's normally $300, but I can get it for 125. So it's like, buy now. So definitely has its perks.
Nice. Did you go to the NRA thing, by the way? That was in
Yes, I did. It
Did
was
you have a booth there, or did you just go to it?
No, no, I don't. To get booths are expensive, and I
They don't
don't
always
want
pay off. They don't always pay off.
exactly. They don't always pay off, and I really don't enjoy just sitting there for 3 days. I think there's a big, based on what I do with my books and stuff like that. I would rather be on the floor. I have like five. I spent a lot of money getting like custom made jerseys that have like the Pew Pew Jew on the background. So I really enjoy walking the floors and people say, "Hey, can we take a picture of your back?" I'm like, "Actually, here's my business card, but feel free to take a picture of my back as well." And okay, I'm getting some crazy glare.
Yeah, is that from the window?
It's from the wind. There we go. Yeah, I really enjoy talking with people and getting around the entire show rather than just being, nailed down to one little
Right.
8x8 square for so long.
Yeah, it's much easier to get around to network that way when you're not stuck in one spot the whole day.
Yeah, and it's great because like um uh I got to the convention on Sunday about 45 minutes early before they opened, and I was sitting with two buddies of mine, and we see he'd just finished speaking at the prayer breakfast. Mark Robinson, the lieutenant governor from South Carolina, the big black dude who got famous for speaking to like a school board and
Oh yeah, he was like saying y'all are the racist, not this
right.
year. Yeah.
Yes, and he became like huge, and now he's the lieutenant governor.
Oh,
So
good.
like it was really cool because here I am. We walk up to him to shake his hand, and he shakes my two buddies' hands. Then he looks down. I'm wearing my badge, and he goes, "The Pew Pew Jew." He goes, "I've heard of you," and I'm like, "Wait, what?" He's like,
What?
"Yeah." He goes, "I deal with the rabbi who told me all about you in your books. And I'm like, what? And it was, I mean, like I was beyond floored. So like if I'm like cooped up in a little booth the whole time, I don't have the opportunities to meet people like this and to really grow my brand. So, but it was fun. I went outside where all those psycho
Yeah,
baby
I was just gonna
killer.
ask if you saw those
Oh,
crazy
oh yeah,
protesters.
it was great. I went outside. Um, yeah, I went outside. I took a selfie with a big was it FU sign and NRA kills babies in the background, and I took a great selfie. And I know a lot of people nowadays are very weary on the police and the thin blue line just because of everything we've been seeing, and that they're the ones that are going to be coming to confiscate our guns. But I have to give it to the Houston PD. They were outside in the heat. I mean, there was one point where there was like 15 horseback cops just blocking the entrance, and I mean that it was kudos to them for standing up and doing their job properly. Uh,
They
there
kept
was
it from turning into anything big.
yeah, they definitely kept it from turning it into anything big, and I mean, I was joking with some people on the inside. I'm like, literally, the safest place in the entire country right now was the NRA show, and not because of the cops, right? It's like you're at the NRA show in Texas, right? Like 95% of the people in that building were carrying a firearm on them.
Literally, good guys with a gun.
Exactly. So it's like it was fantastic. I'm like, you literally like my wife messaged me. She's like, I'm seeing these crazy people, on the news and blah blah blah. She goes, is that where you are? And I'm like, yeah, I was actually outside a few minutes ago, and then it was just, hey, uh, I'm literally in the safest place in the world right now.
Did you
So
see the like wimpy? I just saw those wimpy ass looking dudes. Which, excuse my language if I cuss, I apologize. I can't help it. Like the wimpy dudes who are like, "You're weak for wanting a gun," but they're whip, and I'm like, okay, just logically, let's think about this. You want a cop to protect you, but you think someone who wants to protect themselves is weak. Like, how does that make any logical sense?
yeah, they were definitely out there. I actually had some friends who just put on like regular like plain t-shirts and actually went into the crowds pretending to be protesters. Um, if I didn't have a bunch of like gear on me that like 511 shoes, 511 jeans, and a big ass jersey that said 2A in the Second Amendment and pew pew Jew on it, I might have ventured across the street, but chances are I would have not come back if I went that way with all my gear on. But no, but it was crazy. I saw all those people, these wimpy dudes, and you know, yeah, it was definitely fun to watch them and to hear them and to see. You see on the news all the time these lunatic lefties just losing their minds and yelling and screaming, and you're thinking to yourself like, come on, they can't all be like that. They're all like that. I mean, I never saw the lefty, protests up in person because I've never really had a chance to go anywhere living in Texas. But I will tell you, being at the show in Houston and going outside and having these people like 30 feet away from me across the street, wow. Everyone that makes fun of these people online is accurate as hell. They're all there.
Isn't
I
that
mean,
crazy?
from your soy boys to your Jigglypuffs to you name it, like they were all there. It
Very
was
large
crazy.
women, very large girls that you don't know if they're girls because they've like done weird shit to themselves.
Yeah,
Maybe
and their hair is like purple, and they're all wearing those like nose rings that literally look like
the
like
cows.
a cow, right? Like I'm like, oh my god, it's real. It's not secluded to L.A., New York. It's real, and it was crazy. It was crazy, but um, thank God everything turned out okay. There was no no fight, no real fights. No one was injured, and obviously that's at the end of the day, it's a big victory. So
Yeah, people were able to do their First Amendment right, say what they wanted to say, even if they're wrong. They said what they wanted to say. Like, it's fine. I did see one guy filmed himself when Beto O'Rourke. It was just crazy because that shooting happened right before it, right? And it
2 days, yeah, 2 days before.
and everything's all weird about that. And then the Beto O'Rourke, he like disrupted their
Yep,
meeting, right?
yep.
And then supposedly there's some connection between one of the cops who said to stand down and Beto O'Rourke and all this stuff. And then I did see a video of like Beto walking because he went to the NRA thing. He went there for some reason. And then like some guys like, why are you using kids? Like, because it is, they're using dead kids to like politic on,
Right,
and like
absolutely.
and someone was calling him out. That was good, but
I know. Look,
didn't matter.
thankfully, I mean, granted, we're still a bunch of months away, and anything can change. But there was some liberal poll that came out and showed that Beto was down by like 18 points. This was a liberal poll. Um, People, look, as someone who lives in Texas who will be voting, I pray to God that Beto does not become our governor, because if he does, the next civil war will start in Texas. Just because, Mr. Hell yeah, we're going to take your AKs and your ARs. If he really tries to do something like that in Texas, oh boy, it will not be a pretty picture.
Like what? Like why, dude? Like why is that? Is It's just weird to me when anyone, obviously, like with the Jewish people, like why would, if someone wants to disarm you or tell you that you're not allowed to defend yourself, they have no good intentions. They have zero good
Absolutely,
good. Oh,
absolutely.
I was gonna read a quote really quick. I
Yeah.
don't know. Were you watching my Twitter right before we started? By the way.
I was on the floor wrestling with a
Okay.
very fat 10-month-old.
Okay. Then who said this quote? This year will go down in history for the first time a civilized nation has full gun registration. Our streets will be safer, our police more efficient, and the world will follow our lead into the future. I
Sounds like
didn't.
something sounds like something Hitler would say.
It was Hitler
Oh, was
supposedly
it?
said that.
Was
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So
That
it's like
definitely sounds like something out of Nazi Germany.
right, and that's like what these like Beto and that they're saying the same shit. Like what the hell? It's just
Well, in one of my books, in where is it? It's somewhere back here. In my book, 10 little gun grabbers, right?
that's
In
the
this
one I
book,
read. I read that as well on my
right?
thing. By the
So
way.
10 little gun grabbers, right? Like you open it, besides having the book dedicated to Barack Obama, like literally it says right here. I can't even see there. There we go. Hell yeah, we're gonna take your AR, your AK, Robert Francis O'Rourke, September 2019. Malone LeBay, the American people, 1776 to the present. So it's crazy. It's crazy. It's definitely wild. I for one will not be giving up any of my firearms, no matter what passes. Um, they just not. It's not going to happen. I mean, if I do give up any of my firearms, it's because I'm buying myself a high point for $150, and when the ATF comes to my door, I'll just give them a high point.
Yeah, did you see that thing that the Miami posted today? They're doing a gun buyback.
A
They're
gun
like,
buyback, yeah.
but they're like, we support Ukraine and we're doing a gun buyback. It was like, what? What? What does
No,
that
it's
even mean?
yeah, it's ridiculous. People's people in this country, their ideals are so messed up and so out of, oh, I don't know the right. I know what I want to say. I just don't remember the right way to say it. But just so out of whack, right? It just doesn't make sense. What does a gun buyback have anything to do with Ukraine? Like
Like, what?
like it just
It's like they're so easily well, nobody thinks deep anymore, right? Like nobody even thinks below the surface at all,
right.
right? And
Absolutely.
so, and it's there is so like all of us on Twitter and we know too much. We're not supposed to know everything we know, and it's driving us all crazy a little bit, right? But like, there's so many people out there who just they they give up all responsibility of like knowing things to whatever, and they just repeat whatever, like. it's crazy.
It's really that these people have learned not to literally have been taught not to think for themselves, and that I think is one of the big issues is that when you're not just not capable, but not willing to even say, hey, look, I need to start thinking for myself, then that's why you have the Democratic Party nowadays and all these leftist lunatics who just spew all this BS liberal crap
I
all day long.
and yeah, just like I mean, everything we saw over the last 2 years. Obviously, I don't know. Did you get a lot of anti-Semitism growing up and stuff? You were in LA, you were in
No,
California, right?
I didn't. I remember. I mean, we definitely had it, but I wasn't. I'm not going to be one of these people like, oh yeah, we saw it all the time. I mean, I remember one time. I don't even remember how old I was, and I didn't even realize it was anti-Semitic at the time until my parents kind of freaked out. But I was sitting outside on my parents had this little porch right out, and they had a little swinging bench, and I was sitting on it, and I was wearing my yarmulke, and some two dudes walked by. I guess they heard something. They turned around and they're like, "Hey, Jew boy," and like I was too young. I remember this happening, but again, it went over my head. I had no idea that happened. But we definitely had some anti-Semitic attacks. My brother was one Friday night. My brother was actually shot in the leg with a BB gun.
Like walking
Um,
around, or
we were walking home from synagogue, and literally a drive-by shooting, shot in the leg with a BB gun.
what the
So
hell?
I mean, like I said, we definitely had our fair share, but not what you're seeing in New York. Nothing like that, right?
You're right. The
That's
government
just
didn't tell you
crazy.
can't have a wedding, can't do all this shit. Like that's what's frustrated me so much about, especially when COVID. A was like, I'll be honest, I obviously haven't been like discriminated against in my life because I'm a basic looking white girl, right? Like all my life. And then when the gay club said I couldn't go dancing, I was like, what? What? Like, and it's so stupid and like not important, right? But it was just that little taste of it that like, and I'm not oppressed in any sense of the word or anything, but it was just like there are people out there who like to exclude people based on
Yeah.
stupid crap, like it just made me so mad. Like and then yeah, what happened in New York where they were like shutting down the church service, the Sabbath or the
Yeah, they were shutting that down, and
synagogues
look,
and stuff.
but not just that, right? In New York itself, I mean, there's been nonstop anti-Semitic attacks, Jews being beaten on the street, and I mean, it's all over. Problem is, the news won't report it because it's just the Jews, right? Like, who cares?
And the people who
Um,
are perpetrating it are a certain color, probably.
that is true as well. Yes,
Yeah.
95% are black individuals who are perpetrating the attacks. Now,
Which is more sad. We all know it's that they're in terrible like half of them are fucking crazy in terrible situations because of what the government's done to the black family and everything like that.
right?
So like, yeah, but they won't report it. They won't report it. That
No,
guy shut up the subway,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and if it doesn't fit their gun control narrative, um, the only people they'll report on are white males who will enact any violence, right? I mean, even the shooter in Uvalde, right? Like the media stopped talking about him pretty quickly
Right. Yeah, because he wasn't
because
super white.
he was Hispanic. So like, even then, the conservative media was talking about him and getting more into it, but it just it's ridiculous, and you just have all these anti-gun groups that's calling just for more gun control.
But
You know,
The Matthew McConaughey thing, which what the heck? What the heck is so weird? And that's where I don't know if you know the Johnny Hurley story up here in Nevada, where he took down a literal mass shooter, had already killed one cop, and then Johnny Hurley ran out in his t-shirt and his Vans and took him down. Well, then the cop showed up and killed Johnny.
right?
So like why didn't Matthew McConaughey go to the White House to talk about that? How like good guys with the guns actually are good guys with the guns, you know? Like it's so
because it doesn't fit the anti-gun narrative,
nope.
right? It doesn't fit with the entire we want your guns. I mean, and anyone that says they don't want their guns, they do want your guns, and they're coming after it. I mean, that they are coming after our guns. It's just they're doing it slowly and methodically.
And tell me Matthew McConaughey does, I'm sure he has a big beautiful ranch down there. Don't even tell me nobody's armed. None of his security is armed. Like come
No,
on.
of
Come
course,
on.
and no, absolutely, and I wrote a whole blog on the Matthew McConaughey thing, not necessarily what he said, but so many people were kind of you know, saying, "Oh, who cares what he's saying? He's just a stupid celebrity, right? Let him go and act, and let him do this." And I wrote a blog saying, we need to be paying very close attention to what Matthew McConaughey says, what LeBron James says, all these celebrities. It is so important to pay attention because Matthew McConaughey, and let's not even take Matthew McConaughey. LeBron James, across all of his social media, has probably close to 200 million followers.
And he
Now,
was
yes,
saying
I'm
some he was saying some bad that's Macaroni is a cocksucker. Go ahead.
no, but like these celebrities will say stuff, but they have a massive reach, and their reach is a lot of people who unfortunately listen to celebrities because, again, they can't think for themselves. So when someone like Matthew McConaughey is speaking to his 15 million, 20 million followers across all of his social media platforms, saying, hey, we really need to call for more gun laws and stuff like that. Well, he is now, I mean, he literally is taking these would-be voters and having them brainwashed into believing that gun control is the way to go. So I think it's very important to pay attention and combat, and don't brush under the table what these celebrities are saying, because I'll tell you one thing, they have more clout than any person in Congress, any person in the Senate. They have more clout than anyone in politics, anyone in the conservative movement. They have more clout, and they use it for anti-American ideas.
And they know what they're doing with all the brain, like they are the Joseph Goebbels or however you say his name. Like they know what they're doing when they do this shit. Like when they the shooting
Yeah,
happened and they knew to bring him in to the White House and have his wife there. Like they know what they're doing that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, here's the thing, right? I followed Matthew McConaughey for a while. I actually really enjoy Matthew McConaughey. He's one of the few actors that when I see he's coming out with a new movie, I'm like, okay. His last bunch of movies were pretty awesome. I'm curious to see what this new one is. And I'm sure he really believes what he's saying. The problem is a lot of these celebrities will say things without doing the proper research. Like, I don't know if you saw my post on Instagram. You had God, what's his name? The quarterback for the Bengals, I think. Is that who?
Oh, I just saw that.
Yes, quarterback for the Bengals, Joe Burrows.
He's
So
saying
he
like we
just,
got to take away all the crazy guns or whatever,
yeah,
right?
exactly. He
Yeah.
said that, and then he came out and was like, and we need to have more stringent we have to have kind of background checks. We're like, dude, you're an idiot because we do have background checks. So you're going to sit up there and tell people we need background checks when they're already in place. But now all of your fans are going to be like, yeah, listen to what Joe Burrows, he knows what he's talking about. And it's like, no, oh my God, please, no, just shut up. You're an idiot. Do your research.
Just because
Oh,
like they're armed people protecting their stadiums when they have games and stuff. Like it's just so rude when they are saying that crap.
no, absolutely. Absolutely. It's wild. It's crazy.
Drives me. I just get. I don't know if you saw when I was going back and forth with Christopher Titus, the comedian. I don't know. That was on the weekend, so you probably weren't there. But like,
I did not see that.
All Liberty Twitter eventually he blocked. So he posted something about like background checks or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I said, but if you in your heart of hearts don't want me armed, which he's very anti-gun, um, I don't want to be around you. I literally, that's all I said. If you want me to not be able to defend myself, I don't want to be around you. And he shared it. Christopher Titus shared it or retweeted it and was like, "This is the most scaredy cat, blah blah blah. Like you're so scared." And I was like, literally, like, and then I finally, before he blocked me, but before he blocked me, I said, like, I'm literally not scared because I'm armed. Like that's the whole. I mean, obviously, you have
It's literally the whole point.
Yeah, we have the fear that you have to have as a human, right? But like not. And then he blocked me, but then all his followers came after me who are anti-gun, and like they were saying scary stuff, like they were
Yeah.
threatening me, and I'm like, this is exactly why. It's because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, what are you scared of? I'm like, like
Yeah.
you're scaring me right now.
No, absolutely.
And all Liberty Twitter went after him. He ended up blocking like a bunch of us. It was hilarious because then everybody was like, "What are you talking about?" Like he was just losing his mind about, and then saying, "I'm scared." And I'm like, "No, it was just
So
hilarious."
yeah, I might have to set my eyes on him next because I've been blocked. My latest block was although I'm trying to get Eric Swalwell blocked me from his official congressional account, which I believe is illegal.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'm blocked from his congressional account. I am not blocked from his personal account. Um, and I look. Granted, I'm all for freedom of speech and all that, no question about it. But they're definitely. I mean, I can understand why he blocked me. Let's just say there was a lot of words like Chinese spy, bang, and
Bang
nuclear.
bang.
Yeah, and yeah. I literally did. I was relentless. Anytime he posted anything, I would bring up the fact that he slept with a Chinese spy, and I would bring up the fact that he threatened nuclear war on Americans, and I mean
He's
I'm talking about
ugly, and he's ugly. He's so ugly. Like just
yeah,
FYI, he's so
but like
ugly.
yeah, it was crazy. So he finally blocked me, and I was laughing so hard when he blocked me. I'm like, ooh, wait, he didn't block me from his main account. So I've been trying. I've been relentless on that account too. Um, I have my fair share of blocks. It's a lot of fun. Uh, so I think honestly, my favorite one I'm blocked from is PETA.
They blocked you.
Yeah,
What did you
yeah,
say to him to get blocked?
I don't even remember. It was like I, I mean, it was.
And you're like, hey, I don't even eat like pigs.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm like,
so
hey, I don't eat pig, but no, they were just posting all this stupid stuff, and I'm like, are you asking for a recipe for things, or like, like it was brutal, but it was fun. It was definitely fun being blocked by PETA. I was blocked by Swalwell. Um, the funny thing is, when my first book came out, I was actually on Coley Noir's show, and Coley Noir was like, "Man, your book is great. Have you been blocked by Shannon Watts yet?" I'm like, honestly, no, I don't do a lot of Twitter. He goes, I can guarantee you that by the end of this show, you'll be blocked by her. I'm not lying. The first thing I did when I hung up with Colian was I went to Twitter, bam, blocked by Shannon Watts. And I had never even tweeted her, but I was blocked.
they're so
So
crazy.
it was fun. It was definitely fun.
That is the fun part about Twitter is like you can like directly talk to people sometimes, and they read it like
Oh, yeah,
they
they do. Absolutely,
yeah.
they do. It's fantastic.
It's been great connections for me. Like I've met people I would never meet, and like some higher up people who were looking for property in Colorado and stuff like it's been fun for me. But
No, it's great. I actually there's a relatively large author and pretty cool conservative that he posted something today, and I commented on what he said, and he liked my post and commented back. I'm like, hey, look, I'm a big fan of yours. I love your book that you wrote. I'm also an author. Would love to connect with you and send maybe swap some signed copies. So all of a sudden, I get like 5 minutes later, I get a DM from him, and he's like, "Hey man, here's me. Shoot me an email. Let's take it off social media." And we talked for like 45 minutes via email today, and he's sending me a signed copy of his book. I'm sending copies of my book. He even loved my website so much that he went and bought a shirt. Like and this is like a big name in the firearms slash conservative movement. I'm like, that's awesome. So, like you said, right? You get to deal with people who you would never ever normally have the chance to deal with.
Yeah, it's great networking.
So,
I'm loving
yeah, I
it.
love it.
It's so fun. And then it's made me start doing this, which is so fun just to talk to people, which I love. I should have started it way earlier, but I love it. Oh yeah, Alice. That's what I heard. Like Titus was on Crowder, and like Crowder just like basically pushed him a little bit on. So apparently, Christopher Titus's dad beat his mother, and his mom was a little crazy because of that or otherwise. And his mom killed the dad with a gun. So then he got really anti-gun. But I'm like, it sounded like she was maybe in the right to some. I haven't looked up the whole story, so I don't know. But
yeah. You
he's
would think
so
that's an
anti-gun. I'm
equalizer.
like, why? And I know when he goes, like, there are armed guards that protect comedy clubs and shit. So like, I just how they say this stuff is so disgusting to me from the ivory tower thing, right? Like, it's just drives me nuts. And then
Yeah,
like, there's people that they're that's why Liberty Twitter ended up going back. Is like some of his people were basically like they were threatening me. And I'm like, you are making the point for me to have a gun right
yeah.
now. Like, you
No,
guys,
it's oh man, they don't realize it. Who was it? George Takei. I'm trying to get blocked by him because he's just an absolute idiot.
I think I have him
Um,
blocked.
oh, you have him blocked?
Yeah.
Oh no, he posted. I don't know if you saw this. Like last week. Was it right here? Oh, so right here. George Takei wrote, "Crazy thought, but those 20 million AR-15s now in this country could sure arm a lot of Ukrainians." So I literally, this is what I wrote back. Crazy thought too. 20 million ARs in this country aren't going to Ukraine because we don't want to be in the same position as them. And thank you for making the point that the Second Amendment exists to defend the population against tyranny. Welcome to the club, George Takei. And
You didn't get
yeah,
blocked from that? It didn't block you?
I have to check. I know a lot of people went after him for that. Nope, nope, I'm still there. I get to harass more.
Hey, Brady. I know it's just so frustrating, especially right now. I feel like they are purposely putting it in our face that they're confusing all the people. You know, like when the cops didn't go in for that shooting, they're like, oh, see, good guys with the guns doesn't work. And it's like, they're not the good guys with the guns when
Yeah,
we
that's not.
like
Yeah,
they're like throwing it in our face that they can like confuse people so much and like get people on board with it so much that it makes no sense. It makes no
right.
sense.
Hey, don't forget we are giving this book away.
Oh, is that yes? How should we
Yes.
do the giveaway?
So
How should we do it?
I don't know, but for everyone who's here, if you don't know really what I do besides being a really handsome dude on social media, um, I'm a children's author. I write children's books on firearm safety, firearms education, history of the Second Amendment for kids, all that fun kind of stuff. So I wrote a book called Bullet Points: Reasons Why America Should Embrace Common Sense Gun Law. So anyone who is are there do you have two areas where you have people chiming
Watching
in,
right now.
or is it
It pretty
just like
much just YouTube is
just
they're
pretty much
not
YouTube?
chat. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know how you want to do it. There's not a lot of people here. So
There's
um
9. There is a whole 9 people.
a
Oh,
whole nine
8.
people.
8 because one's me.
This one's you and one's me too. So
Oh,
so any right. So we are gonna give this away. I'm not sure how. But for those that don't know what this book is, again, Bullet Points: Reasons Why America Should Embrace Common
oh,
Sense
this
Gun
is
Law.
that one gut. This is that one book, isn't
Right.
it?
Ben Shapiro did call my book comprehensive. And the reason is here are all my reasons why we should be embracing common sense gun law, right? So this is a great coffee table book. It's a great book to take if you are going to like a gun class and you need to take notes. It's a blank book. There are no reasons. So it's a really fun book. So we're gonna give it away. Not sure how you want to do it.
I'll think of
Um,
something here.
I
I'll
guess
look
maybe,
back through the chats and I'll figure it out.
or we can just like write everyone's name down and then I don't know.
Yeah, everybody who's here, who's interested, say here. Then we'll go from there. I'll figure it
Fine.
out.
That yeah.
Is
Anyone
that
who's
good?
interested in being in the running to win a signed copy of my latest book that pissed off the world, just um, yeah, definitely say here and
Was
hey
there?
Rick D,
Let me go grab a pen. Sorry, I thought I had
cool,
one.
cool, cool. It's going well. Just arrived. Well, it's good you just arrived. We're gonna be giving away a signed copy of Bullet Points: Reasons Why America Should Embrace Common Sense Gun Law. Um,
Everybody
so
go and everybody go follow him as well on YouTube.
please, YouTube. Um, I'm on here. Here's also if people really want to find me, you'll see a lot of stuff. That's my website right there, thepewpewjew.com. I have a lot of
I'll put it in the notes too when
cool.
I go back.
Yeah, I have a lot of really fun stuff. The shirt I'm wearing is in honor of uh, that message that I sent you earlier that anti-Semite was goading me. Um, it
Yeah, it was
says
so subtle too, but
now,
you must be used to it, so you know,
now
or
I
like.
oh yeah, it says now I have a Jewish space laser. Oi oi oi. A little throwback to Die Hard. Um, uh, so yeah, and if you
Which is
guys
a
don't,
Christmas movie, not a
it
Hanukkah movie.
100%
I'm
is a
just kidding.
Christmas movie. Even I will say that. Um, yeah, it's one of the greatest Christmas movies ever.
You're in the Dallas Fort Worth area, right?
I am, yes, I
Not
am in the Dallas
Austin.
Fort Worth. Yeah, not Austin. I try to stay away from Austin. Way too liberal for me. Much worse than Dallas. But but yeah, I
There's
mean, guys, I have a ton of books out. I have 8 books out. If you don't win, you
You already
guys can
showed
get
one,
books from
but
my
I have
website.
one
There
over
we
here.
go. 10 little gun grabbers. You can see right behind me over my bald head. You can see my books right there. Um,
There's another one.
27 words. Yes, a breakdown of the Second Amendment for children.
I think those
I
are
think
good.
actually, if people are looking for last minute, if you got a dad who's like really into guns, um, I don't know if any of my signed books will get to you by Father's Day. I doubt it. However, my books are on Amazon, so this one makes a great Father's Day present, as well as I have another book called 105 Explosive Gun Jokes, and it's like the ultimate corny dad joke book. So those are all on Amazon as well.
How's that going? How's Amazon selling going?
Amazon's going well. I mean, it's one of those things that again, after losing my main Instagram account being throttled back 96%, it's been tough selling or really getting anyone to go near anything on my website or my books because I just have lost a significant portion of my reach. But um, still having fun doing it.
Yeah, you're still killing it. I mean, you're still we can only do what we can do, right? Like,
Exactly. You can cry about it, or you can just keep your head low, keep your eyes open, and just keep on moving on the best way you can. And I'm gonna
did you
keep on
start
doing
your
that.
own publish? Are you your own publishing company, by the way,
I'm
or
not. I'm
you
not.
use somebody?
I use Amazon Publishing actually.
Okay.
They make it incredibly easy to publish books. So 6 out of 8 of my books are published through Amazon. Um, but yeah, it's great. It definitely is great.
Um, I don't know if I told you, but my mother started a publishing company at one point, and it was Christian. It was sweet, but she could publish anything, at this point. But she sold most of it off, I think. But That's
A
a
lot of people,
lot
yeah,
of
a
people
lot of
write books.
people. No, look, a lot of people have been using Amazon because it's so easy, and you really have full control over everything, right? Something that I've noticed, or it's not noticed, something that I've learned about being in the publishing world, having 8 books out, is that unless you're a massive, massive name, publishing companies aren't going to lift a finger to market your books.
Right.
They won't. You have to do all the legwork. So if that's the case, why don't I just not split the money with anybody, publish through Amazon? I have full control over all my books, and in terms of, oh well, you're not getting your books in Barnes and Noble and other bookstores. I'm like, let's be honest. When was the last time you walked into Barnes and Noble to buy a book for 27.95 when you can get it on Amazon
And then
for
you don't have all the extra product too. You don't have to like order a bunch and then you have a bunch sitting in boxes and stuff like that if you don't want.
right, exactly. So it's great. It's great. Yeah, Brady, man, autism,
Put it
I
back up.
hear you. Um, you know, uh, I man,
One of
I
those
can't really,
things.
yeah, I can't really talk about or talk to that, as I have 4 kids, and thank God, um, I don't have to deal with that. That came out really negative. Not that I don't have to deal with it, but I think
I
you understand what I'm saying. But firearm safety, there is really a lot of avenues that you could take for firearms in the home, having them properly locked up, taking the proper safety precautions, and all that kind of stuff in case you do ever want to get one in the home, for self-defense purposes. There definitely are options out there.
There's really
Um,
basics, like some very basic things you could still teach some. It depends on
yeah,
how autistic and if it's real autistic versus just internet. I'm autistic stuff.
right. I mean, look, I've dealt with a lot of in my past. I used to work with a company that or an organization that dealt a lot with autism and autistic kids, and I was kind of a counselor. So I've definitely dealt with autism before, and depending on, I guess, what level of the spectrum you're on, there are ways to still teach kids about firearm safety, just to be safe. But again, I don't know Brady's situation. I don't know. That's why I can't really talk to it, because I
Right.
don't know what's going on. But yeah, man. Look, even a BB gun someday. Those are a lot of fun. I got a few BB guns. My kids and I, we go out to our backyard and plink away at things. So, and the good foodie. Thank you, man. I appreciate that greatly.
I was just gonna say about this. This it's kind of sad, but it was about that Adam Lanza who shot up
Yeah.
Sandy Hook. So he
Yes.
had a lot of problems, and his
Right.
mother. Because I saw this documentary about it, because he was in a whole bunch of programs through the school and like all this stuff that was helping him. Because you need that kind of help as a parent when your kid is like that. You need help, right? You just people who know, and the
Right.
mother, and she had taught him gun stuff and then for some reason, she took him out of all those programs and then just had him at home for a while. So it was like, what? Like there was a lot of weird stuff like that went on with that, where it was like, what? They didn't know like why she did that and all that stuff. Cause he seemed like apparently he was like on a really good upslope and doing great. And then she just pulled him out of everything. So I don't know. That kind of stuff's important for kids
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
that.
No. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. It is like it's a weird world out there. That's why I always get on when people are like, "I'm autistic. I have to repeat a song 10 times." I'm like, "You're not autistic, okay? You're like you're a normal person. Like there's real autism out there where like people can't even control their bodies and stuff. Like it's a
I'll
real
be
thing."
honest. If there's a new song that I like, I'll play it 30 times.
Oh yeah.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
play all the time. And I'm like, I'm not autistic, but I will like people will put all these behaviors down. And I'm like, I do that stuff, but I'm not like, it's internet stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no two that's great. It is a huge spectrum. It's a huge spectrum because apparently if you repeat songs, you're autistic.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Did you? Was there another event you were going to down there? Was there like a? No, I think it was just
Oh,
the.
I mean, I went the day before the NRA show kicked off. I went to the Primary Arms Range Day. I don't know if that was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of great companies. You're getting to test fire a lot of stuff. I got to shoot some full auto stuff. I got to do skeet shooting with archery.
Like
That
a
was
bow and arrow, literally.
yes,
Oh, how did
yeah,
that go?
horrible.
Yeah, were
I
you
got
sore afterwards? I feel like
oh
your
my god,
muscles.
I was dying because at one point there was like no one else doing it, so I must have shot it was seven. I must have shot about 85 arrows in a
Ooh,
matter of 10 minutes.
ooh.
And for anyone that does archery, because again, it's not like this isn't like you're not using a compound bow where you click in and then you pull back and there's no real strain on your shoulder and you have the little clicker to release the arrow. This is like an old school Robin Hood bow where you know they tell you to knock the arrow, so you knock it. They tell you to pull back, so you pull back, and they're like aim, and then you're holding it, and you don't know when the woman is gonna call pull because you don't call pull. They call pull for you, and then they shoot out like a disc that's like a 10-inch disc that's foam, and like you're standing there like this for probably a solid like 4 seconds between each shot. And oh man, it killed me, but it was so much fun. I didn't hit that discs once.
Oh, you didn't hit any of them?
No, God, it was. I think only one person hit it. Out of like hundreds, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of really cool companies there. Like I said, I got to shoot a AK-47 that was fantastic. No muzzle rise, really fun. I got to shoot I forgot the model of the gun, but it was an uh, almost like a carbon fiber build of an AR-15. I mean, I don't know if it was carbon fiber, but the thing weighed like 3.5, 4 pounds from a company called Battle Arms, and I shot it full auto, and you would think with like 3 to 4 pounds, you would think that you're gonna go flying back for the recoil. I don't know what this company did to this gun, but I will tell you there was zero recoil on full auto with a 4 pound gun.
It's probably
It
pretty
was
expensive, although it doesn't come full auto, but
yeah, no, it just the base model of that gun, I think they said was like 3,300. So is it worth every penny? Absolutely. But at the same time, I don't have $3,300
for
to,
one
to
gun, yeah.
for one gun right now.
I get that. I need to set up. Speaking of archery, because down at the forest property, I'm like, I need to set up and start doing it. Technically, I could actually shoot there, but it's just there's no good spot the way it's set up, the hills and stuff. But I'm like, we need
You're
to do an
you're
archery
you're in
range out there.
you're in Colorado?
Yeah, and so and it's rural where that property is, and you can't. There's someone else in the neighborhood, but it's who has a shooting range, but they're up against the foothill, so like they have the like
The whole
hill that
berm in the back, right?
yeah, like a literal mountain basically. But
So
my house is like on a hill, so it's kind of weird.
so so I have a friend. I don't remember where her. She used to do instructing, and she just quit doing. She just bought an old range and is redoing it, like an outdoor range.
Ooh,
My problem is, I have no idea. Like, I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you.
where in Colorado?
Um, yeah, where in Colorado it is, but you would love this woman. Her name's Ava Flanell. She has a great podcast called Gun Funny Podcast.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, she's all over.
Okay.
I'm looking on. No, maybe did she post it on her Gun Funny page? Or maybe I don't even know where she posted it. Maybe it was on Facebook. Um, Again, yeah, I don't know where.
Oh, it looks like someone.
Okay,
Battle. You find her on YouTube.
so it's called. It was formerly known as Whistling Pines Gun Club. Um,
Oh,
two in
that's
the
what she bought.
Yeah, two in the Springs and one in Castle Rock.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
Castle Rock. I know the Castle Rock one then, or
So
yeah.
I don't know if she owns all three now or that, but she's a really good friend of mine.
Okay.
So you would like her because she's also like very vocal, very opinionated, but like one of us.
Yeah, get us hooked up
So
because my forest property is really close to Castle Rock, and I've been wanting to join the one down in Castle Rock. I just haven't yet. So.
yeah, I can definitely make you do the introduction.
Heck yeah! And
I think here Rick B just wrote the Battle Arms OIP retail. It's carbon fiber and titanium. That's the one. Oh man, it was freaking awesome to shoot. I mean, I have video footage of me shooting it, and you can see the muzzle does not rise. I don't know what they did, but it is awesome.
What's I've never shot an AK-47. Is it smooth like an AR is, or is it a little more rough? Like
I would say, well, it's a different caliber. It's a bigger caliber than a normal AR.
right.
So it definitely could be a little rougher. I shot one that was incredibly smooth, and it was the smoothest one I've ever shot. But AKs tend to be a little more. Yeah, Rick D's a nerd, a dork. I'm sorry, he's a dork. He even called himself a dork.
It's all good.
He had to look it up. 4.6 pounds.
That's how all y'all gun people are like that though. You gotta get it
We are.
right.
Yeah,
We love it.
gun people are absolute dorks. If someone says something, we're like, ooh, like we got to look it up, and yeah, absolute total dorks. There's no question about that. So
I like it though because I'm not in. Obviously, I shoot my gun, my everyday carry. I like to be comfortable and all that stuff. But like, I could never hold the information y'all hold in your heads about guns and stuff. Like it's just there's so much to know and all that. But
no, there definitely is. There definitely is a lot to know, and I'm not even. I mean, I have friends who are like serious
super into
savants with
it.
like not even like just savants, like just you
There's
name them one gun and they can just tell you everything, but they can do that about every gun, right? It's crazy what these people
You gotta
know.
follow Terribly Tactical. I'll send you his link.
Is he on where is it, Instagram?
Well, he's mostly on YouTube.
Oh,
So
mostly
that's
on
like
YouTube.
how it's like half of these guys found me through him. But yeah, he's really good at YouTube. He's like really good at it. And then,
Terribly Tactical.
but we technically met on Twitter. He came to Twitter, and then we that's what we do. He does a Sunday night stream, and like he invited me on, and his guys like me because who doesn't, right? So, no, but he's
Okay.
fun. He knows that he works at a gun shop outside of Chicago.
Ooh, okay. I hate Chicago. My wife's from there.
Right. I was born in Chicago. Thank God my parents left. I'm always like I'm the type of person who's like you should stay and fight for your home, but then I'm like thank God my parents left Chicago and brought me to Colorado.
Look, I'm from Los Angeles, right? I moved. My Texaniversary's in 2 months from tomorrow.
Your what anniversary? Oh, your Texas
My
anniversary?
my Texaniversary, yes, the
How
day I
long has
moved
it
to Texas.
been?
It'll be 8 years.
Ooh, nice.
My wife and I were married together for 6 years in LA. So we have been out of we've lived longer together in Texas than we did in LA. So
Okay.
to me, that's a huge win. I have my two older kids have lived in Texas longer than they lived in LA. Then I have two native born Texans. So
Perfect. That's how we were in
um,
Colorado basically. Like I moved out here when I was 6. So I was like thank God,
yeah,
like I got to
thank
grow up
God.
out here.
Um, I'm not necessarily into shotgun sports. I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love skeet shooting. Um, I need to do it more often, but I only own one shotgun, and it's a tactical defensive shotgun, so I don't necessarily, if I go to a range to do skeet shooting, it ends up costing me an arm and a leg because I gotta, rent a shotgun, buy their shells, and just ends up being $1 million worth of money. So, plus if anytime I go to the range, as much as I love skeet shooting, I really, really enjoy running and gunning and transitioning between I have a custom Glock that I usually
What kind of
custom.
Glock? We're Glock household here.
Okay, so I have uh, three Glocks. One of them I keep in a micro Roni. It's kind of my traveling gun. But then I have 43X, which is my main
That's
everyday.
what I want. That's what I want for my EDC.
The 43X.
Yeah. I just don't want
Okay,
to spend. I don't want to spend like I can only find them for like 600, and I'm like, no, I want to spend 400. I don't want to spend 600. You know?
let's talk offline.
Okay. Yay, let's
Um,
do.
I have lots of connections. let's
Okay.
let's just put it that way. And
And I
and
have I have friends here who have FFL if we need to like transfer stuff
transfer, yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Um,
Otherwise, I'm carrying around. You guess what I carry around with me?
what do you carry?
27, the 40 cal.
Oh my gosh,
But
no.
it's so
So
little and cute. I like it.
hold on, I have it right. I keep it right by my bedside. I have. This is my. So have you ever heard of DEFCON 3, the company?
I mean, I'm sure I've heard of it, but I'm not like.
All right, so DEFCON 3 is a company that does custom work to Glocks, and my buddy, it's empty. My buddy um, did this for me. So this was a plain black Glock 19 Gen 3.
Oh, that's their poo poo. Ah, that's awesome.
So he does like this undercut right here is a game. Oh, there we go. That undercut, it's a game changer. When you put your middle finger there and wrap it around, it's a different feel. Um, and then he does the stippling work, which is so soft, but at the same time, like just there's no it just you can grip it. Um, the slide work was done by a company called Maple Leaf Firearms. They just did all these really cool grooves and cuts in it. I got Cerakoted battle worn bronze. My buddy put my logo on it
I
for
love that.
fun. Got a Terran Tactical base magwell, and then Faxon Firearms actually sent me a threaded barrel. So I
Dang.
have the threaded barrel, and I have a 17 round mag. Um,
That's a
well,
19, you said?
this is this is a regular Glock
Yeah.
19 Gen 3,
We got one of those.
but the custom work on it is just oh my god, it's a game changer when you shoot it. It doesn't feel like your normal Glock. I mean, I have friends who hate Glocks, but they will pick this up, and to them, it's total, total game changer. So this is kind of my bedside gun, as well as when I will carry that depending on where I'm going. I definitely will carry that, as my EDC also. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Mr. Forrest Mommy he's a lot older than me. Very cliche. But he was a cop for a short minute. So it's like we're a Glock house. There's
You
so
hear
many
Glock?
Glocks, yeah, everywhere. It's like, all right, I'm cool with it though. They're simple and easy. What can you do? But I
Let me
want the
see.
43X so bad.
Hold on one second. Let me see if
Oh, and someone said if you were a Beto blocked you. I don't know if you saw that.
he hasn't blocked me yet, but I think that's because he's running for governor now. But
Who even
it,
is he? Like, who? Where do these people come from? They're
so
so weird.
he's originally from down by San Antonio. I forgot where. I hate him so much. I try to block him out. But his real name is Francis Robert, right?
Oh.
But he says that growing up in a Spanish neighborhood, they used to call him Beto. But
Oh,
his
so he's
real
trying
name,
to get like points.
yeah. So he went, yeah, Francis Robert O'Rourke. So
So silly. Oh, he had a DUI. Of course. Of
yeah,
course.
he had a DUI. It's crazy.
A lot of these people are like really groomed and put in organizations, and even Miss from Colorado, which the gun people love, Lauren Boebert, because she open carries and stuff. But she's, if you go like, there's still some weird shit that may have happened. Like on the Republican side, they groom people too to come up into positions, and it's just like it's weird. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it is weird. It definitely is. It's
That's why with the Libertarian Party, I always say, I'm like, I don't technically believe in the political process. I don't like it. I'll give a little energy towards it because they're pretty cool out here in Colorado and whatever. But like in the end, whatever, like
right.
I don't want to be a politician. I don't, that's not something I would do, but I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know. Are you still
but
okay? Do you want to, are you quit? Do you need to quit or anything? Are you
no,
good?
no, no. I
Okay.
was just looking whether my wholesaler has the 43X in stock, and they
Yeah, that would be
have
great.
they
Oh,
have
if you want to
a
save
lot.
money, talk to a Jew. Duh. Duh, Forrest money. Do you know what's so funny? So my parents weren't like racist really anything growing up. Obviously, we lived white and rural. And my dad always told this one Jew joke because he was a dad joke dude. And
Okay.
I never got it for the longest time. Then I finally got it. Do you want to hear it?
I like a good Jew joke.
It's not even. It's like I was like, oh, duh. What's a Jewish dilemma?
it's a Jewish dilemma. I don't know.
Pork on sale. Like for the longest time, I didn't understand because I didn't know. I didn't fucking know, and I was like, "What is that?" Like,
That's really that's
then I get it,
that's
and I was like,
funny.
"Oh, okay."
I'm gonna text that to my rabbi.
Is
Yeah.
It's a good one, right? Because
Oh
I
yeah.
told you I wasn't around much Jewish culture growing up, but I do have actually a Jewish. I guess he's a second or third cousin that lives in Texas, but we didn't really hang out with him much. So I just didn't know out here, man. I was out in the country. I love it.
Um.
I love the
Yeah.
Jews. I love your people. I think you're
Yeah.
all great.
We're a bunch of crazies. There's no question about that. But I think
The neurotic thing. I like the neurotic thing.
God,
Like it's
I have been fighting with that my entire life. My father is, if you look up the word neurotic in an encyclopedia, his smiling face will be right there. And it's brutal. I mean, it really screwed me up growing up. He my father is the son of a Holocaust survivor.
okay.
Um, my mom is the daughter of Holocaust survivors. So it's not like I'm not that far removed, right? I'm the grandchild of Holocaust survivors. And all I can tell you is from the time I was about 13 or 14, it kind of hit me that the way my father is in his, his whole being so neurotic, so paranoid, I'm like, that's not a healthy way to live. And I have been fighting with it because my parents, as children of Holocaust survivors, to them it's normal, right? They didn't see anything wrong with it. But I was the kid. I was always the black sheep. There was four of us growing up. Um, I mean, there still is four of us, but growing up, I had an older brother, a younger brother, and a younger sister, and I was number two. And I realized I'm like, this is not a healthy way to live. And because my parents never saw it that way, um, like I never went for therapy. I literally overcame it all by myself, which was not easy because you're constantly feeling like you're screwed up and there's no one to talk to. Um,
And you're not
and,
good enough. You're not good
right,
enough.
right. You're
Like,
not good enough. Right, exactly. So I had a. I mean, look, my father was incredibly loving. My mom, I love her, but she was very unaffectionate growing up. So like, I had two sides of the spectrum, right? Like one parent who showed no love and the other parent who was over the top. So I was being suffocated almost on both sides. But to the point where now that I have my own kids, my oldest, who's 12, he suffers from horrible, horrible anxiety. And my wife and I saw it immediately. Um, Growing up, we saw it, but was it? He's 12 now, so probably about 4 years ago. Yeah, it must have been about 4 years ago. Um, I finally told my wife, I'm like, we need to get him help. I said, it's not healthy. And I said, I didn't have any help growing up, and I'll be damned if my child will have to go through what I did or what I still go through, right? Like now that I'm now that I'm a parent, it's one of the things where,
now
I
it's
have my
more. Now you're probably more
right now it's more,
anxious.
right? It's like my 12-year-old, he's like, oh, can I walk to my friend's house? And, I'm terrified to let him walk by himself, especially in the world we live in today, half a mile away to his friend's house. And I live in a very safe neighborhood, but even still, it's terrifying. But, we sent them to a psychologist, and thank God this woman was one of these psychologists who just not only knew what she was doing incredibly well, but it was all about the child. She was so professional and not one of these liberal, psycho
Maybe you're
therapists.
transgender. Maybe you're
Right,
transgender.
right,
Anything
exactly. So
wrong? Maybe you're transgender.
right, exactly. So she was not like all these horrible therapists you see. She was so good at what she was doing, and like I said, she literally put my child's well-being before anything else. And after about a year and a half of seeing her, my son finally, I'm not going to say got over it completely. He still fights with it, but who doesn't fight with anxiety nowadays, right? Everyone has
It's
a
all about
certain
learning the coping mechanisms. That's what we all have
exact.
it's about learning how to cope with it and channel it and do things with it,
No,
right?
absolutely. And one of the most amazing things I found, and my wife didn't believe me, is when my son was 8. I said, I'm going to take my kids shooting when they're 8 years old, and my son turned 8, and my wife really wasn't happy about me taking him shooting at so young. But finally, I have a video of the first time he was ever shooting. And it's amazing because he's standing there, 8 years old, shooting a Ruger 1022, so a little, 22 cal rifle. And I went to this range where my friend managed the range, so kind of got a little in because a lot of ranges aren't letting don't let you take an 8-year old to indoor range. But we kind of got special permission, and I took them. It was on a Friday, and they were doing full auto Friday, and the lane next to my son went full auto. And as the person was shooting full auto, my son just was so zeroed in to the target and just one after another, one, two, three, and all of his anxiety, even with the full auto going, even with the handguns here, the ARs there, everything going on, he was laser like focused shooting. And it was amazing to see this transition from a little boy who's scared of his own shadow to just this like I'm talking about like freaking John Wick looking kid who's just so zeroed in, not flinching and just hitting the target one after another. This was his first time shooting, to the point where the RSO after he was done with his 10 rounds, because it was one of the little mags for the Ruger, the RSO taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "Dude, I thought you said this was your kid's first time shooting." I'm like, "It is." He goes, "You should be really proud." And like, so now he's 12, and we'll go and he'll shoot my micro Roni, he shoots my Glocks, he shoots my ARs, and he's still a pretty small kid because my wife and I aren't big people. But he loves it, and the the to see the shooting sport, and I'm not talking about three gun or competition, but the actual sport of shooting, to see how that helped with his anxiety and how he was able to control it and manage it. Um, Thankfully, again, his psychologist ended up being pretty pro gun as well, which I was really happy about. And when I told her that I took him shooting and stuff like that, she started using it, and she's like, "Hey, yeah, do you remember when you went shooting with your dad and you were just focused and nothing bothered you?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay." And then they started using that as a coping mechanism. Like, yeah, when something's bothering you, just pretend like you're on the range again. Just try to zero everything out and concentrate on one thing. And it was amazing. It really was amazing to see how far my son overcame his anxiety through so many different avenues, and, excuse me, including shooting. It was fascinating.
That's such a good story because it's true too, right? Like if you, and that's great that the therapist or psychologist can say, like, let's think about that. When you were in that moment, you were focused on the problem, which is hitting the
Right.
target, right? And like, you're able to like get rid of all these other intrusive thoughts and things, and we focus on what we need to do, right? Like
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I love
Yeah, it
that.
was it was great, and I was so proud of him. Like, he came home with his first target, and he hit one bullseye out of like a million shots, but like, he was so proud of that one bullseye, showing my wife, "Look, I hit the bullseye," and I
It is.
showed
It's so proud. It's so
it
like
is no, it is, and then I told him, she's like, "How did he do?" Not in terms of like shooting, but in terms of his anxiety. I'm like, "Look at this video." And I showed my wife this video, and she just looked at me, and I wish I would have recorded it, because everyone's saying, Johnny Depp is the first person to win an argument with a woman. Well, my wife turns to me and she's like, "You know what? You were right. Just watching this video, I
which
see."
Jewish women don't typically say that, right? Isn't that the whole
Oh no,
thing?
they. I'll tell you something. My wife, and she might be able to hear me, maybe not.
We love her.
Yeah, not. I don't know what I did right in a previous life, but my wife is truly a mind-blowing woman. Not just how she raises our kids, and not just how I see she deals with the world, but um, just on a personal level, the freedom that she gives me as her husband, and the trust she puts in me as her husband, will make most men jealous. I mean, it's amazing. She is an absolutely amazing, amazing woman, and I couldn't
Shout
I
out to
couldn't do.
her. Shout
Yeah,
out to her.
yeah, and I couldn't do my entire pew pew Jew thing if it wasn't for her, because the support she gives me, the patience she gives me. I mean, I did a podcast last night. I'm doing a podcast tonight. I'm taking someone tomorrow night shooting to teach them to shoot. So, like, that's literally 3 nights in a row where my wife is dealing with 4 kids. She's dealing with dinner. She's dealing with bedtime, showering, and she never once. We've been married for 14 years, together as a couple for 15 years, and never once in those 15 years has she ever said, "Well, you've been out every night this week, so no, you can't go out tonight," or "No, I'm going out tonight because you've been," like, never once has she done that. And we're talking about 15 years. Um, she's incredibly supportive, and I mean, I owe her everything. So
It's a good partnership, man.
yeah, yeah,
It's like when it works, and it's so good.
yeah. No, absolutely. And she's fantastic. So
That's me and Mr. Forrest Mommy too, especially when I was like starting to get into streaming. He's like, "Are you streaming tonight? Are you going to be streaming?" It's just fun. And we've been together. It'll be 13 years this year, I think. Not married though, but because
okay.
I'm anti-government. I'm actually, but I am. I always tell people, but I am the beneficiary, so I'm in it to win it. Like I'm in it to win it. Like
So it's actually really funny. So in Judaism, you get married you get married according to Jewish law, right? So civil law, signing that piece of paper just to get a marriage license, really has no has
yes,
no bearing on an actual Jewish marriage.
right
So my wife and I, our anniversary is March 9th, but we technically got married like February 14th.
through the church or
Well, no,
through
just
the.
like we literally went to a rabbi. Here's the marriage license. Him and his wife both signed it. Oh, congratulations, you're married. Go to the courthouse and turn it in. Um, so my wife and I were actually married for 3 weeks longer than we were technically according to Judaism, um, because Judaism only recognizes Jewish marriages, not outside marriages. So we joke all the time, you know, that we've been married longer than we actually are.
Well, that's what matters is like the spiritual commitment. That's what I like about marriage. I don't need the whole fucking government to get involved. I'm like, I understand the spiritual commitment. Like that's what
Right.
it's about, right? Like especially if you're like really religious, like that's the important part. And that's so my family was always all about that too. And I was like, I'm the youngest of four. So like the pressure wasn't on me as much because my sisters were married when I was like a kid still and stuff. So like but my dad still pulls the whole, well, before I'm on my deathbed, you guys need to get married. And I'm like, we can fake one. I don't know. Like one of these days. Because
send me send
Mr.
me a
Force
picture of your head and his head, and I'll Photoshop it.
before shop it with the yeah, because I'm like, if we ever did anything, it would be a spiritual thing on top of a mountain, anyways, right? Like
Right.
it's
No,
all.
absolutely. Just
And he was married before once, and I'm like, I don't want that. She literally was like a gold digger, and I know I look like one, but I'm not. So like, I don't want to like put someone through that again. Like if we break up, I don't need a consolation prize. Like it'll be fine. But I'm in it. Like I said, I'm in it to win it. Now it's a challenge. I'm like, I'm staying till the very end.
you're stuck with me.
I'm
Um,
stuck.
yeah,
And
I
it
tell
just works perfect. Same shit as you like.
well as
There's
my wife always points out. She goes, I know you're not going anywhere because you're slightly overweight and you're bald at this point, so you're stuck with me. She's like, you can't do any better than me. I'm like, no, I can't. You're right.
Yeah, I couldn't even be traded. Like I was telling him, I'm like, "Are you gonna trade me in again? Am I right?" But I'm like, "You can't. You couldn't even. You're done. Like you're stuck." Plus, my family loves them, and it's all what it is. I'm just like, fine. I don't like the government aspect of it.
I think I would love to see the government. I mean, let's be honest. The only reason why they do, a marriage certificate, so they can take more revenue from you. So,
Yes.
I would love to see them out of that world, but at this point, I think there's a lot bigger fish to fry than
Yeah, I don't
you
like
know what I'm
people
saying?
will get
Like,
in a debate about that, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna debate about that. It's
yeah,
not. I don't care. Do what you want.
yeah, not even worth it. Not even worth it.
No. Maybe we could talk about lawyers and how shady some of these lawyers are, but
Oh man, I
hey,
hate
first
lawyers.
one shot. That's what happened with the whole divorce industry too. Is all these lawyers got involved, and like our neighbor, who's the nicest guy ever, like her lawyer when they got divorced, which was her second round. She knew what she was. It's a game to some people, right? Like
Right.
and the lawyers are telling people to like, hey, just say he was sexually molesting people or whatever, like, and You should go to jail if you say
Yeah.
that and it's not true, right? Like,
I am, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
however jail would work out, but in my anarchist society, but we could call it if you're tired. We went for an hour and a
I'm
half.
I'm not tired. I'm good. And like I said, I
You
still
have
have
to.
I think I have 3 kids up still at this point, so
Is the
we
little
can.
one sleeping?
Yes, my little chubby is sleeping. That kid, my oh, he's 11 months old now. Wow, my 11-month-old is. I mean, he he is such a boy, like all boy. Like when you burp, he just bursts out laughing. He thinks it's a funny thing. And then like if you burp, he just goes to he looks at you, starts laughing, and he goes, I'm like, dude, you're 11 months old. You shouldn't be doing this yet. He loves dancing. I will send you I'll send you a
Vids.
message of him dancing. He just is beginning to like get into music and stuff. And you know the song "I'm a Scat Man."
Yeah.
So
Bap, baby, better do bop,
yeah,
baby.
so
It's an old song.
he loves this song. You put it on and he just starts bouncing like because he's fat. So he just starts like bouncing and then like he starts laughing and then he throws himself on the floor and like bangs his head and does it again. The kid's crazy. Um, but he is. I mean, man, I every when I'm not with him, um, like just the fact that I know he's sleeping now, I'm like, God, I miss that kid.
Hmm.
Um, and then yeah, and then my other ones are awesome also.
And he's the last of four. The last of four are pretty
He's
cool. The last of four are pretty cool. I'm
I
just
would
saying.
say he's the last, but
Oh no, you
if
guys should have more. You should have more. Pop them
no,
out.
here at the end of the day, if we can afford it and God provides, and you know, we're definitely not opposed to having more, but it really comes down to can we afford it?
Right.
But he's my little guy. He's a lot of fun, and then there's the one right above him, my 6 year old, who is like freaking Hitler's dream child.
Oh,
The
the
kid.
blonde one.
Oh yeah, God, that kid is like beach blonde and um, like big blue eyes and fit. I mean, the kid came out of the womb holding a crunch. Like he's been doing crunches since the day he was born, from the second he was born. So like my 6 year old is literally walking around with like a defined six pack, and we don't do the kid eats and he's like the
So
little itty
muscular.
bitty Energizer bunny from hell. So like he'll have like a ice cream sundae, and then he just burns off all 1,000 calories from the ice cream sundae in like 15 minutes because the kid doesn't can't sit still. And he's crazy. I love him too. He's my little partner in crime. So
Um, I can keep going, but I have to go pee. Do you mind if we break for a second?
let's break for a second.
All right. Be back, everybody. You
I'll
can
see if I
keep
can.
talking about whatever.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll see if I can
plug your
hold the.
shit. Plug it.
Yeah, plug my stuff. Yes. Okay. So now that she's not here, no. So I'm gonna post this again. I know she said she's gonna post it in the notes, but guys, check out my website, thepewpewjew.com. You can get signed copies of my books. I have a lot of really fun t-shirts, patches, hats, hoodies, mugs. I have a lot of stuff that is super fun. I am, you know, all I would say 98% of it is gun related. Excuse me, pro 2A stuff. So yeah, but if anyone has any questions for me, definitely put them in the. I know I saw a few questions before. Rick D, I do shoot steel targets. I love steel targets. There's a great range. I don't know if you follow Colleen Noir, but he posts a lot of videos. He's always at a range that has like tires as the walls, so that's the same range I go to, and they have steel there. And you know, um, besides hearing my kids laugh, hearing your rounds hit steel is freaking awesome. That ping is just great sound. So Yes, the Hebrew come and take it. I appreciate that one. God, do I have this here? Here, let me. Oh yeah, I do have it. Here we go. This is not the right one. I don't know where my right one is. Anyways, there you go. I'm going from camo. There you go.
Oh,
Camo
your
to
yarmulkes.
yeah. I just did a yarmulke change because someone said my come and take it. I have come and take it yarmulkes in Hebrew too. So we just did a wardrobe change.
Is it disrespectful if you're not Jewish to wear a yarmulke?
I mean,
If you're
look, I'm
not
not.
doing it to make fun of them, if you're just like,
Look, I'm not into cultural appropriation. I think you do you. If it offends someone, it offends someone. I think if you're doing it to mock somebody, I think
right,
that's
that's
a
different.
I think that's a pretty a-hole move. But if someone wants to wear one, I mean, really, the idea of a yarmulke, um, it's derived from Jewish words, two Hebrew words. One is yira, which means to fear. The other one is malka, which means the king. So yarmulke, yira, malka, kind of just crunched together. And the idea behind that is um, that the king is always above you, right? The king is you should fear the king, right? You're a malka, fear the king. He's always there. He's always watching. And the idea behind it is to be a proper representation of a good individual or a good Jew, right? So if I'm in 7-Eleven and I'm dying of thirst and there's a line out the door and I just want to buy a bottle of water, um,
Just steal it. Just steal it. Just
right,
kidding.
right. No, no, no. But if that enters your mind, the idea of the yarmulke is not necessarily that you're going to get caught and get in trouble, but the idea is God is watching. God is always there. So be the best person that you can be at any given time. That's why we
Makes
wear it
sense.
every. That's right. That's why we wear it everywhere we go.
That makes
Um,
sense.
right.
Because even
So
the Hasidic Jews wear them, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
they curl their hair right here. I like how they
Yeah.
curl
They
their
have
hair.
the called payas.
What's it
So
called?
yeah, payas,
Payas?
payas.
Okay.
I don't even remember what it translates to, but yeah, no, at the end of the day, it's just a constant reminder that, God is always watching you, so act appropriately, act accordingly. So that's really what it comes down to, the idea behind the yarmulke.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like all religions. Like you just want to remind yourself constantly that like you're being, you have to have integrity at all times. Which nor even if you're not religious, you should have integrity at all times as well.
No,
So
of course, but this is kind of just like
it's a little
uh yeah,
more important, I would
yeah, just
say.
just like a reminder, a constant reminder.
I was talking to Robbie about like what synagogue was like, if synagogue was like church, but it sounds like they're a little different.
Yeah, from the people I've talked to a lot of time, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I've never been to church service, so I wouldn't know. But from my understanding is, you go, you're sitting in the pews, and you might sing some songs, and the preacher might give a sermon, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Um, so synagogue for us is very different. Synagogue for us is we have prayer books from that. So we're saying prayers in ancient Hebrew. We're prayers that rabbis wrote 2,000 years ago. That it's been the same thing for 2,000 years. Nothing's changed. So we say there's different blessings. There's different aspects of our prayers. Um, Everyone hates when the rabbi speaks. Everyone. No one likes when the rabbi speaks in
Because
the middle
it
of
is
prayers.
it boring? Is that
So
why?
boring. You do
That's
have every now and then you do have rabbis who are dynamic and great speakers and fun to listen to, but more often than not, you just find these rabbis to be just boring. Um,
I was gonna.
so
Can I add something in really quick? Because we were
absolutely,
talking earlier about learning coping mechanisms. So
yes.
I had to go to church all my life and stuff, and then I remember I may have ADD, ADHD, whatever, but in church, I learned you sit there and you be fucking quiet and you even if you don't know what he's saying, you entertain yourself and you don't act up, right? Like it was a good coping mechanism to learn how to like sit still for me
Right.
at
So
least.
it's a big source of contention in a lot of synagogues because a lot of times people will be there for prayers and usually there's kind of three aspects to prayers on the Sabbath, for example, which is usually when a rabbi speaks, is mainly on the Sabbath. During the week, there's no time for speeches. So, and plus during the week, the prayers are a little different. They're shorter than the one on the Sabbath. But for example, on the Sabbath, there's three parts to the prayers. There's the beginning, the weekly Torah portion where we read from the Bible, and then there's the end portion. And usually the rabbis speak between the Bible reading and the end portion. And the very common contentious moments is a lot of people don't like hearing the rabbi speak. So a lot of people will end up walking out right before the rabbi speaks. And rabbis always get pissed off at that. They're like, oh, it's so rude. And we're like, no, it's not rude. We just don't like hearing you speak and we want to finish the prayer. So, like, we would rather not sit there and fall asleep during your speech. Um, so a lot of people do not like the speeches, and like I said, it's a very common source of contention in synagogues. Um, but yeah, I know personally, I walk out. I love the rabbi of my community. He's an amazing individual. I just don't like listening to him speak. I don't think he's a dynamic speaker. I think he's kind of boring.
With
But
their own
again,
interpretation too, or
no,
not
no, no,
really
no.
with Jewish,
That's
like
no. It's not. That's the beauty is that no rabbi's interpreting anything by themselves, right? So for example, um, this week we're reading from Numbers chapter the Numbers, so the third portion in Numbers. So the rabbi will normally the rabbi would normally get a topic from within the Torah portion and elaborate on that. Bring in, our sages once said about this, and sages said that. Say, and kind of, but no one is interpreting the Bible on their own. To us, that would be blasphemous.
yeah,
So
that's why there's like 800 different Christian sects. Because they all like, even if you go to one church, the church will split because people interpret it differently, and like that's what's interesting about the Jewish. It's all basically the same, whereas
right. So
it's
we do
still
have different. We definitely do have different sects within Judaism. However, the bottom line pretty much is the same, right? Um, some laws are interpreted slightly different, but at the end of the day, it is very different than Christianity. In terms of more often than not, everything is uniformed, just slightly different. Not like Baptists don't like the
Lutherans or
Lutherans
whatever.
and
Yeah.
Catholics don't like the Baptist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we have different customs. That's what it is more. We have different customs. The different sects of Judaism have different customs, but the underlying message, we all read the exact same Torah, right? We follow the Old Testament. So all of our Old Testaments, whether you're a Hasidic Jew, an Ashkenazi Jew, a Sephardic Jew, everyone is reading the exact same thing every week, word for word. Just a lot of the customs are different.
Okay. I feel like, and yeah, you kept it like, because Christianity is just all over the place, man. Like, it's all over, all the different. I mean, I went to a million different churches growing up too. It's just like, wow, this is.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of differences between obviously. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences between Christianity and Judaism. And one of the big ones that we always hear about is And I
Born
actually
again
taught.
stuff? The born
Well,
again
not even born again, but and I don't remember what sect of Christianity says this, but like, what's the one where it says if you don't accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you're going to burn in hell?
That's basically like typically all Christians, I feel
All
like it's
Christians. Okay,
yeah.
so like in Judaism, we don't believe in anything like that. Like if I have a perfect example would be someone like Oscar Schindler, right? From Schindler's List, right?
Yeah.
And the guy was a womanizer, a philanderer, cheated on his wife numerous times. But at the end of the day, every Jew will tell you that guy has a special place in heaven, right? Even though he's not Jewish, right? You can make it to heaven even if you're not a Jew.
Oh.
Whereas in Christianity, if you
You
don't
have to
accept,
ask Jesus into your heart. You have to ask Jesus into your heart
right,
to get to heaven.
you have to have him into your. You can literally be a Christian who's accepted Jesus into your heart, and although we don't believe that, according to Judaism, you can still get into heaven. Like we're okay with that as long as you're a good person and lived a just life. That's not a problem. But you know, there's a lot of different things that I've talked to some Christians and they're like, man, I wish Christianity was more like that. More like understanding. Like, okay, so what if you don't accept Jesus into your life? I mean, if you're a really good person, you lead a very, very, you know, proper life, doing charity, helping people out, living the ideals that Jesus talked about, but because you didn't accept Jesus in your life,
Right.
you're not going to go to heaven. They're like, what?
Yeah.
And when I explain to them that Judaism is not like that, they're like, what? Wait, it's not? You mean non-Jews can get into Jewish heaven? I'm like, no, non-Jews can get into heaven. It's not Jewish heaven. It's heaven. It's our belief of what heaven is supposed to be. But there is no Christian heaven and Jewish heaven, and no, it's heaven, right? So, yeah,
I know, it's so interesting. I never like that's like I said, I grew up in Christian religion and all that, but I never was like I'm not an angry atheist or anything. I've always loved learning about things and like I've always been a spiritual person and I'm so like I said, I'm thankful I grew up how I grew up and I learned what I learned.
right. Sorry, my laptop's dying,
Uh-oh.
and we're good.
Good.
Uh,
Oh, Christians move the Sabbath. Oh, because it's supposed to be Saturday, not Sunday. Is that
yes,
right?
to us the first day of the week is Sunday. That's the first day. Saturday is the last day, and obviously our Sabbath. So
They're all different. Synagogue. Oh, I see. Like synagogues are probably like run a little bit the same. Whereas all the churches are all crazy different, man. I've been to churches where they talk in tongue, and then like shit gets crazy out there. But whatever. If it makes people feel good and if it makes them be better people, I'm down. Whatever it takes.
look, I have friends from all walks of life, from all religions, and you know, you even as a Jew, I mean, I believe my religion is the correct religion. However, I can bring whatever proofs that I believe um, is, is the proofs that I believe will back up that Judaism is the correct religion. But at the end of the day, none of us know, right?
Right. It's all
And
faith.
we're all exactly. It's all faith. And when we die, we'll find out. You
Gotta
just follow your religion, follow your faith, and again, as long as you, and again, that's what I was just saying, right? That's where a huge difference is, that as long as you follow your faith, you're a good person, you do the right things in life, there's a place in heaven for you in Judaism. But if I'm gonna go through my life and know that, hey, if I don't accept Jesus, I'm not getting into heaven, well, what's the point of being good then?
Yeah, and you can accept Jesus in your heart and be bad and still get into heaven, supposedly.
Exactly.
So
Like one thing, and maybe you can explain it or someone there. Jews never understood the concept of you go to a confessional and you're absolved from your sins.
I wasn't Catholic either, so
Oh,
I don't
is
know.
that is that a Catholic thing?
Yeah, so like
Okay,
regular like Baptist, but yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if you follow my friend Violet on Twitter. She's very Catholic, and it's interesting to like learn about her stuff and what she believes too, because it is like about the whole they confess their sins, and it just I don't know, it feels better in the other sects or whatever. Like sometimes people will like want to give their testimony and say the things they've done, but it's like different than the whole Catholic thing where it's I don't know, every week or something. It's crazy. I'm like,
yeah.
I wouldn't have the time or the energy to confess all my sins. Okay, no, just kidding.
No, no, yeah, no, pretty much. I mean, look, in Judaism, we believe, like, for example, if I wronged you, um, there's two aspects to forgiveness. One is I gotta pray to God to forgive me, but in order for that forgiveness to, let's say it's you go to God and you're like, please forgive me. You know, I sinned against this person. God's like, okay, I forgive you, but if you want that off your record, you need to go apologize to them too. So in Judaism, if you want a real a real forgiveness, you need to actually apologize to the person that you wronged.
That's kind of like
And
AA. You have to go
yeah,
apologize.
pretty much,
Not that much.
yeah, pretty much. But
Which
my
just
wife
makes
said,
sense. That makes sense to like apologize to the people you wronged, right?
right, because like you know how you know how easy is it um to steal from somebody and then you just and again I'm not knocking this. I don't want
No, that's not how
uh
it is here. We can talk freely and openly about,
right,
and it's
right.
not
I don't want to offend anyone, but like I just don't understand like how you go steal from someone and then you know, hey, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned, and he's like, all right, buddy, you're good to go. Thanks for coming in. Like, well, no, like how how are you getting forgiveness like that? It just you're not asking forgiveness from God, and you're not asking forgiveness from the person you stole from. You're talking
some guy.
to a man
Yeah.
who's saying after about 5 seconds that you're forgiven. If if you want to believe that, by all means, you do you. That's fine. Um, so,
Yeah,
uh,
I never really understood Catholic because my mother was raised Catholic, and then she like became a born again Christian. That's how we were raised. But I was always like, just interesting. I love it all. I hate that people get angry about it because I'm like, I love talking about it, but you know, it is what it
um,
is.
oh, that's a good question. From
First one
first
shot.
one shot.
He's a gun boy.
Okay, is it blasphemous to type God? No. Okay, so
Do
a
Jewish
lot.
people call him God? Do you guys say, or he's
Yeah,
just
God is just God, and we don't when we say the word God, we're talking about
Yahweh?
our
Is it
God.
Yahweh or something
Well,
like
that's
that?
right. That's the
Mhm.
transliterated version if you taking it from Hebrew. But um, in terms of typing the name God out, right? God. A lot of times you will see Jews write G dash D. The reason why they do that has nothing to do with anything religious. The reason why they do that and not actually type out God is because in Judaism, when we write the name of God out, whether it's from the Old Testament, whether it's from, you know, we're taking a test and we write the name out, stuff like that. Once you write God's name out, we're not allowed to throw away that paper, right? That's just the
Oh.
rule, right? Because you're throwing God's name into the garbage, which is beyond disrespectful. So when it comes to writing the word God, it's become a practice that you just don't write God's full name out. Even if the word God is English and has no religious connotation, it's still a matter of, muscle memory, if you will, that you don't write God's full name out. So a lot of people won't write God's full name out, whether it's in Judaism, whether it's in writing it in English.
Just easier
So,
that way than if you
yeah.
have to throw something out, you're good.
Yeah. So to answer first one shot, no, it's not blasphemous to type God. Um, it's just a matter of, you know, a respect that you get it ingrained in you, that you don't throw God's name out or erase God's name. So
Like not saying his name in vain around people. Some people
yeah,
like
and that's another thing that I've learned since entering the industry. I can't even tell you how many times I've been yelled at when I say the words like "goddamn." If I say "goddamn," I get yelled at by people like, "You can't say that. That's taking God's name in vain." And I'm like, "How am I taking God's name in vain? Like I'm saying "goddamn." Like what? Like no, you can't say it. And they're like, "Yeah, so what's it mean to you?" And I'm like, well, when you take God's name in vain, like if I go out and murder somebody in God's name, that's taking God's name out in vain, right? That's using God to justify something wrong, doing something wrong,
right.
right? Murdering, the freaking, I mean, you name it, right? Whatever, right? That's taking like, so for me to say like, God damn it, like, yeah, I'm not really doing anything. Like, I'm not doing anything bad. Like, I'm not taking God's name out of it. Like, so that's something I've been yelled at numerous times by a lot of my friends. You can't say that. I'm like, my bad, my
Well, I
bad.
just did. That's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
it's also a thing of like being human and not giving so much powered words, right? Like obviously we like some words, you have your prayers and stuff, which those are powerful words, but then like I grew up and my mother was like, don't say suck or don't say piss. And I was like, really? Was that important? No. Like just stuff like that where it's like
right. I mean, I know in my the last like 5 years, I probably cursed a lot more in the last 5 years than I did in the previous 33 years. Let's put it that way. I've come to a point in my life where I don't want to say I don't care anymore, but I just
it's just a way to
yeah,
express it's just a way to
it's
express
yeah,
yourself. Like
right. And like my wife used to yell at me every time like I would get hurt and like the kids were around and I would say the F word under my breath. But then I explained to her, next time you get hurt, next time you stub your toe, say the F word. I promise you you'll feel better.
it's true. It's so
Right? Like and it happened. Like she let it slip and I'm like, "Oh, you feel better." She goes, "That's not the point," like and you have to understand, I love my wife like we talked about earlier. I love her to pieces. She's amazing. She is so just I don't want to use the word naive, but and I know the word in Hebrew, just like an absolute like soft spoken sweetheart. Like doesn't have a bad bone in her body. Like just one of these people. She's just an angel. How I married her, like I said, is still a mystery that we're trying to figure out. But but that's who she is. And like but like when she cursed and after she stubbed her toe and I'm like, "Ooh, it feels better." She goes, "Okay, yes, kind of."
It just feels
Um,
good. It just
just
feels
feels
so
good, yeah.
good.
So, yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
It's not, especially if you're like, we're so good for so long. I remember once I hit middle school and like I was still going to church and stuff at that point, but I was like, I'm cussing. Like cuss in like school when I was away from my parents, Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever it is what it is.
No,
Like
I've been a Boy Scout probably for okay, I'm 38 now. I've been a Boy Scout probably for 35 years. Let's put it that
That's
way.
good. You earned your time. You earned
Yeah,
it.
the last 3 years I've seen this world and has made me beyond sarcastic and yeah, I can't really say that I'm a
When's your birthday? What month is your birthday?
April.
Okay, yeah, you're a month older than me a little bit.
April 2nd.
Yeah, I'm May 8th, 84.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're a month
We're
apart.
the
Very cool.
same age. We're the same age.
We are. Very cool. I didn't know that.
You've been way more productive than me, but it's good.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's
No, it's all
true.
good. I'm fine. I'm fine with where I'm
I think we've
at.
all been. I think we've all been productive. Don't
We've made it
keep.
to where we've made it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, you got more shoes than I do. I have more guns than you had. I mean, it's what you value. But
It's true. Although I don't even know how many guns are in this house. I've lived here for 12 years now, and I still don't know. I know where the ones I need are, but
right.
there's
You want to see a
more.
you want to see a really you want to see a really cool gun I have?
Yeah, let's see it.
Oh,
Always show guns on this podcast.
so the gun I have, I was working at a gun store, and a World War II veteran rolled in. Literally rolled in. He was in a wheelchair, and yeah, I'm horrible.
No, it's funny.
And he sold this to the gun store, and I turned to my boss, and I'm like, I want to buy it, and he thought I was crazy. It's a Walther P38. You can't really see it, but right there.
Okay.
It
That's how
has
you know.
it has Nazi insignia still stamped on it.
Oh, damn. So it was a Nazi gun?
It was a Nazi gun from World War II.
Dang.
So I brought it into a gunsmith. I bought it. He sold it to me for my boss sold it to me for shockingly low, under 400, and it's in perfect working order. And I think at the end of the day, the reason why he gave it to me for so cheap is because the fact that like here I am, an Orthodox Jew with a Nazi gun, and he asked me why I want it, and I explained to him the main reason. There's two main reasons, because there's no bigger fu to Hitler than a little Texas Jewish boy owning one of his guns, and the second reason is I want my kids to understand that guns are just tools, right?
That
Even if
anyone can use, good or bad.
anyone can use, whether this is from Nazi Germany or whether I have it in my hands, no one's fired that gun for 80 years. And the last person to fire it was a Nazi. The one who owns it now is a Jew, and I'm not going to use that gun. My kids need to understand that it's a person that makes a gun good or bad. And so when I explained that to my boss, he's like, "Dude, I can't sell this for you for more than 400." So
Nice.
it was like 375. So he
That's
did,
cool though.
and
I love that. That's such a good lesson too.
yeah,
Just like
yeah. So this is and apparently it's in perfect working order.
have you never shot it?
I have not shot it yet. I need to take it. I need to take it again to a gunsmith and have him strip it down and evaluate it to make sure it is in working order, because I would absolutely love to shoot it.
Especially
I
like
think
at a target of Hitler or something. That would be awesome.
they make those. They make those, but yes, it would be that would be one hell of a video, wouldn't it? So it's funny. Before I bought the gun, I called my rabbi. I'm like, Rabbi, listen, I have this chance of getting this gun. I explained to him the whole story. I'm like, I have the chance. Is there anything wrong? Not whether I should or shouldn't, but according to Jewish law, is there anything wrong with it? So he said no. Then I said, okay, what about, is there anything wrong with it? Just not a proper thing to do. My rabbi on the phone, he goes, Yehuda, I don't tell
Uh-oh.
this to a lot. He goes, I don't tell this to a lot of people. He goes, sometimes you need to pick up your enemy's sword and use it against them.
Mm.
And I'm like, yes. And so he kind of gave me his blessing to buy it, and that's when I got it. But
what caliber does it shoot?
a 9 mil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 9 millimeter. So it's really cool. It's super heavy, really, really heavy. But at but at the same time, it's heavy, but it actually is weighted really nicely at the same time. So, but it's really cool. I really like this gun, and my kids have held it, and I've showed them and explained to them, and my 12-year-old has learned extensively about the Holocaust, and he's always asking questions about it. So the fact that like he
That was
sees
pretty profound there. That was a pretty profound moment.
thank you, Raven Black Dove. I actually wrote this. I wrote a blog on this on my website,
Are your blogs
and
at the pewpewjew.com? Your blogs are there? Okay.
yes, I have one of the tabs on top is blog, and um, I wrote a blog on it, and a few websites picked it up, and apparently it was trending on Twitter at one point, but I never saw that because it's
Yeah,
entitled.
we need to get you banging on Twitter.
Look, I would. I'm trying. I'm trying. I think I don't know why, but like
We need to get
you know,
Maj to share something of yours. That would
so
be
Maj, I'm friends with Maj, right? Like I love Maj. Like I have we talk all the time. And he retweets a lot of my stuff too. Whenever he does, I pick up a nice amount of followers. Um,
because there's a big problem where there's a lot of black people who are anti-Semitic too. Like it's a whole
yes,
thing.
yeah, there is, and it's actually something that no one I know really talks about. They stay away from that.
No, you
Which,
can't talk about that. You can't talk about that.
which no, look, I look, I would never uh blame Maj, or I don't know if you know Kevin Dixie, who's also a good buddy of mine, also fantastic firearms instructor. He's kind of like my 2A spiritual advisor, if you will. He's also a black dude, and I get I get why they don't talk about it, and I can't fault them for not talking about it. But at the end of the day, Maj shares my stuff. Maj is a good buddy of mine, and yeah, you're gonna have your anti-Semites out there, but it's not Maj or anyone else's job to call these people out. They're on a 2A mission. They're not looking to get involved in anything else. So, would it be nice?
Everyone has their own battles. All of us have our
A
own
hundred, a
battles.
100%, and it would be fantastic for them to say something, but at the end of the day, it's not their job, and I'm just gonna, keep being me, keep doing my thing, and keep being friends with Maj and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I would love to like just rock it up on Twitter. It's I'm trying so hard,
So,
but
you just gotta
um,
post tits. You just gotta post some tits, okay?
I
Just kidding.
I was thinking that, but I don't think anyone wants to see mine.
You know
So
what's funny is when I started getting bigger, I wasn't even posting anything sexy. Obviously, I had pictures of me, and I had this old video. Did you follow me when I was Forest Mommy, or
I
only
mean,
after I got banned? I forget if when we met. I don't think you
so
met
so
Forest
we okay.
Mommy.
So I don't know when you switched over. We
I did. Well, I got banned, and just right at Christmas, I got banned. This last Christmas.
No, so I got back into Twitter in this past March, only in the last 3 months
Okay, yeah. So you didn't know
since
Forest Mommy.
no
Well, this is
since
Forest Mommy, but I had a whole account for that whole time from basically COVID till this last Christmas. But I had this video pinned. I made this video, and like it was a shitty little skit where I'm like looking out my window with binoculars, like, oh, they don't have a mask on, just being
right.
COVID weirdo. And that's what helped get me a following. And then and lately I've been, ever since things calmed down, I've definitely been more sexy lately. So I've been like, you know what, whatever, I don't even care anymore. Like whatever, the world sucks, people suck. Like
No, it's
they're
true.
not gonna apologize for what they did over the last 2 years, and the people who should
No,
see through how crazy it was aren't like, so I don't even care anymore. I don't care. Although I'm not supporting, like, I went to the gay club once after they dropped the whole vaccine pass. I'm like, I went once and I don't even want to go again because screw them. Like, screw you. You're gay. You're the gay club and you're telling me I can't come in? Like, what the heck was that about? Like.
Funny story. I had a phone call this week from a doctor. I have a hernia that I have to get surgery for.
And you're like in your
So,
stomach area?
yeah, hiatal hernia, like
Sorry.
right here. No, it's okay. It's a pretty easy surgery, but so the doctor's office calls me, and this is a conversation. Okay, sir, have you had COVID in the last 2 weeks? No, ma'am. Have you been exposed to anyone with COVID in the last 2 weeks? No. Do you have any fever, chills, any flu-like symptoms, coughing, sneezing, runny nose? Nope, 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 nope. I'm feeling great. She goes, okay. So our next appointment is August 31st. Like, why the hell are you asking me all these questions then?
Yeah,
Like,
what can happen in the meantime?
like, I will not be getting COVID in the next 2 months, so just don't ask again. I'm like, I got off the phone and I just turned to my wife. I'm like, are people that stupid? Like, I just, I don't
Like,
know.
I can understand wanting that, like, when you're giving blood and they're like, have you had a piercing? There are certain questions like that that make sense,
But you're
right?
doing look. Even if I was going for a doctor's appointment in the next week, it would make sense.
Right,
This is
right.
literally 2.5 months away, asking all these questions, and I'm answering them, thinking that I'll be able to see them next week.
No, months
Oh,
out.
and then the best is after she asked me these questions, she's like, "Okay, when you come in, you will have to wear a mask." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Uh, I'm, I'm, I'm like, it's okay." I'm like, what do you mean? Thank you, buddy. I'm online. Yeah,
Nice.
that's my 12-year-old. So I'm like,
I
what?
need a beer getter. Give me a beer. I'm just kidding. Go on.
Well, yes. Funny about the beer getter. There's a great show called Rules of Engagement. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Hilarious show. It was 8 seasons. Great show. Absolutely hilarious. But one of the episodes, the husband plays like softball with a team, and his wife, they call her the beer wench, right? And like any of the guys in the dugout, they're like beer wench, and she has to bring them a beer. So let's just say I definitely call my wife
I would train
whatever
my kid. Yeah, I would train
whatever
my wife
what
and kids do all
what
that.
well when I want to drink, if my wife is in the kitchen and I'm like, our house isn't big, so like our whole downstairs is like one big room basically. So my wife is in the kitchen, I'm in our living room, our den area. It's like literally 5 feet away. So she'll be in the kitchen. I'm like, hey, water wench, can you bring me water? And
Nice.
you just hear her say, get it yourself. Um, but oh god, what was I saying before? Oh,
How they want you to wear a mask.
they want me to wear a mask. I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, is that going to be a problem? I'm like, no, no, it's not going to be a problem. But we're in Texas. They lifted the mask mandate over a year ago. I said, I've been to countless doctors in the last year. No one has made me wear a mask, not one. And she's like, did she just, you can tell that she put her hand over the phone. She goes, hey, listen, I get it. I agree with you. It's crazy. I hate it. But that's the rule. I'm like, no, no, I'm not mad. I'm just trying to figure out why in like
And you're not
what?
sick. If you're not like,
Yeah,
okay,
like
maybe the masks work if you're sick, but to say that everybody's sick all the time, like
oh,
how?
yeah, it was I was literally like laughing hysterically when they told me that. I thought it was just so funny.
Yeah, because you were like, we haven't even been
I'm
doing
like,
that in stores and stuff. So,
no, yeah, it's been wild. It's
hey, one MA in the chat. Sorry. Are you good? Do you need to go? We can go. It's it's
No,
9:20 by you now.
I literally do not need to go.
You're like, no, let's keep going. I
No,
love it.
I can go. Like I said, my
It's fun. It's fun to talk like this, right? Where you
all
can
right,
just like talk.
let's see.
I don't know. Oh yeah, one shots on Twitter now. I think he only joined to see if I had slutty pictures though, but I don't judge. It's all good.
Well, the way he's been messaging you here,
He's a gun dude. He found me through that terribly tactical dude. So which I
you got to
love.
introduce me to Terribly
Yeah, I
Tactical.
sent you
Tactical.
his YouTube link at least. I would love. He needs to have you on because he does streams much like this where it's just like whatever we talk.
Shoot in the breeze.
Yeah, like, and he's super into guns, and obviously he works in a gun shop, and yeah. Anyways, sorry, I'm just checking my phone.
Yeah, no, I
There's another guy who comes on a lot too, named Boosted. I haven't seen him at all. He's Mike Oxlong. I'll send you his name on Twitter if he doesn't follow you yet. But he's a cool dude. He lives in
and if
Texas.
and just if anyone here is on Instagram,
Yeah,
I
follow
can
his
really,
Instagram.
yeah, I can definitely use the followers there. I will put down um, both my accounts. Um, that's one account, and then that one that I just posted has been throttled back about 96%. But the Pew Pew Jew backup is like my main account where that's where I'm getting a lot of things done. So
Good. I want you to be successful. So your mom can't judge your gun love, like we talked about.
so
But
it's
I know
actually
it's funny because you're like, this is a Jew thing where like you want to prove to your mother, But I'm like, I did too.
well,
Like
that was back in the day. Thankfully my parents have actually chilled out and really have come to term with everything that's not just with me and my firearm, my working in the firearms industry, but they've actually, when they first found out that I own guns and I started getting involved with politics, and I used to write for Ben Shapiro, and I started becoming like super conservative. Um, excuse me. They were I grew up very apolitical, so they never really understood where I was coming from. But all of a sudden, as the world keeps descending into chaos, my parents actually have really opened their eyes and really become a lot more right versus what they were. I don't think they were ever liberal, but definitely more right. So
I feel
yeah,
like a lot, like even me, I never ever considered myself on the right. Ever.
right.
I left home super young because I was going to be a strong, independent woman, like, and I still like, but apparently I am. I don't know. Like,
Look, it's amazing. It's amazing the journey that we find ourselves on. I know with me, I was driving to work one day listening to the local FM DJs in California, and like the big FM Kevin and Bean, that's who they were. Kevin and Bean in L.A., and they were talking about male anatomy parts, and as they were talking about it, I just felt like the brain cells exploding one by one.
because they were being
And
weird about it or what?
no, it's like it was just stupid talk. Like it wasn't. They weren't talking biology. They were
You
just
brought me a Corona. Sorry, go on.
Mr. Beer Wench. Um,
Love it.
I like him. I like him. He's a keeper.
Well, you all know me. The only reason I can be me is because of him. So it's all good. Go on. Sorry.
But no, like I felt my brain cells, exploding one by one. Um, and like the next thing I know, I turned on AM radio, and I actually found Glenn Beck. He was like the first, and this is back. We're talking about now 15 years ago. This is way before Glenn Beck, was who he is now.
Right.
He was just talking about all this stuff, Constitution stuff, and I'm on the floor. I'm dying of laughter listening to him because he was a comedian. He was great. And over the course of the next 6 months, I found myself not just listening to him at the time. Again, I've come a long way where we're talking about 15 years ago. So I'm able to think for myself now. But, when you're first getting into it, I was listening to Hannity and Bill O'Reilly and Glenn Beck and Monica Crowley, who to this day I still love.
Rush.
And
What about Rush?
I was, so I never, I liked Rush, but I think Rush rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't like
He was a
his.
little angry. He was a little
Yeah,
angry.
and when you're first getting into it, not knowing anything, I'm like, this guy is just way too angry for me. After about 6 months of listening to all of these, conservative pundits, like I'm like, well, that makes sense. So yeah, well, that's common sense. Why would someone not do that? And then like all of a sudden, it's like, oh crap! Here I thought all Jews are Democrats. I'm not even a Democrat. Hell, I'm not even a Republican. I'm like a 3% Tea Party patriot. And I never looked back. So my point is that I thought all Jews were Democrats. I thought I was a Democrat up until I was like 24. Until you find yourself on a path, and you realize maybe I'm not. I'm not. That's not who I am. And like to the point is at this point in my life, like I've actually become more of a libertarian than I am a conservative. And I'm loving it. I used to be like, nope, we should not legalize marijuana. Now I'm like, screw it, just legalize everything. Let the herd thin themselves out. Like, like
Right.
I'm just like I've become like total libertarian. You know, uh, and it's great.
There's a freeing feeling when you believe in individual responsibility and self. Like there's something where you're like, I can't control that person, and they may go off the fucking deep end. If they're my friend or whatever, I'll try, right? But like there's such a freeing feeling into believing in individualism, I felt like.
It's amazing because part of this journey that I've been through, especially my journey really has taken off really in the last 5 years since my first book came out. And what's really fascinating is that it's not me. It's not just a matter of, the personal responsibility and that kind of freedom. That clearly is a huge aspect. But one of the big things, and I know based on our relationship we have and how I see you interact on social media, when you don't give a goddamn one bit what people think about you, you just do your thing. And if someone gets offended, that's on them. That's not you. As long as you're not specifically trying to offend somebody who's like a good person, you know what I'm saying? Not you're not being
Yeah.
like a total jerk to
A
everyone,
turtle
but like
troll.
right. But when you just hey, this is who I am. You don't have to like me. That's fine. I'm not changing. Between the individual responsibility aspect and then the idea that I just don't care anymore. Like this is who I am. You like it, great. You don't like it, too. That's fine too. When you can start thinking that way,
It's
wow.
very freeing.
Oh
That's
my
why, like,
God.
I lucked out early in life because like I said, I moved out young because I didn't believe the religion, and every family is kind of culty, right? My family was kind of culty, and we have a great relationship now. But when I was like 17, I'm like, I gotta leave. I can't. I'm out. Like, and then they
Yeah.
like I was apostate, basically, like, you're not part of the religion anymore, and we need to punish you for it. And like, I went through all that shit. So it's like when you go through that, especially when it's your family trying to hurt you, that's really screwed up. Like
Yeah.
that, like I said, we're all good now. Like everything's fine now. But at that time, it was bad. And like, and I think a lot of people go through that and they don't heal from it. And luckily, I had my ex is a great dude at the time, and like he taught me, like helped me learn, like, I can't be angry about it because they only know what they know.
Right.
We all only know what we know. And, so like I just had a very lucky, uh, like, what do you call it? Like influences on my life, I guess you would
Right.
say. But then like, I feel like when you've gone through that where your family disowned you and like, and now I'm benefiting off of my family financially, but I didn't use like I moved out purposely to be
Right.
like I'm on my own and I was broke for all my 20, it wasn't great. But like I feel like if you go through that, it's good later, like
Yeah. Yeah.
you
No,
don't care.
it
You don't
makes you
care.
it also makes you a stronger person. Um,
Yeah, because
but
you're like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do regardless of what you say. Sorry.
yeah, I mean, it's really fascinating because I've had this conversation with so many people in my community. We have this one couple that we're really, really close friends with. Like their daughter is good friends with my daughter, and my daughter had a friggin' sleepover last night with this girl. So our families are really close, and I've had like long philosophical conversations with this other couple, and we were talking about it, and I'm like, Hannah, when you get to the point, I said, you say that you don't really care what people are thinking about you, but you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, and you're doing that. Why? Because you're afraid of what people might think of you. I said, the minute you stop caring, and when I say stop caring, it doesn't mean you be a jerk about it. It doesn't mean you be, you
You're still
know,
cooperative.
you're still cooperative. You still be, but when you can stop caring what people think about you, right? When I say that, I'm not going off to strip clubs and doing all the things that go against my religion. Like I'm just gonna be me. I'm gonna follow my religion the way it's supposed to follow, but I'm not gonna do anything for anybody because they want me to do it for them. I'm gonna be myself, and if someone doesn't like who I am, I said, guess what? That's their problem. I'm not going to change my personality for anyone. For anyone. Um,
Yeah. It's
so
so
like
freeing. Isn't that such a
it's
freeing feeling?
oh my god, it's really it's amazing. Like I have like even some of my good friends are like, hey dude, do you want to like come hang out tonight? And I'm like, yeah. Like, yeah, but come on, you got to. We're doing this, we're doing that. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to. They're like, well, what are you doing instead? I'm like, just got a new book. I'm just gonna sit down and read a book. They're like, what? How do you would rather read a book than hang out with us? I'm like, yeah, pretty much tonight. That's what I would rather do. And they're like, dude, not cool. I'm like, I'm gonna have a good time. Hope you guys do too. And like they just people just don't understand it. Like when you stop caring about the small things that people are offended about, rather than trying to make everyone happy. Oh man,
I
it's
hate
amazing.
I hate labels, but there is something called autotelic personality versus like, so autotelic personality is a person who can just do what they want to do, right? Like they just follow their own flow, do their own shit. Versus like the people who are always like keep up with the Joneses or come out, you have to go out with us. Like
Right.
there are just people we just like are like, yeah, whatever. I'm gonna do what I want. Like that's it's not
Yeah.
easy, right? Like
Yeah. It's
I
it's
don't
really
know.
it,
It's
people who
hard though.
don't.
People are very weak,
Yeah.
especially we saw for the last 2 years. Especially like people are weak.
Yeah, people, and the hard thing is that thank God you and I are very similar in terms of like our our thinking. And the reason why I say that is like we can have this conversation, and it's actually nice to be able to talk with people who are likely like you, right? But when I'm talking with people in my in my community, especially me being as vocal as I am, right? Like something happened in my kid's school this week, and I posted something about Facebook. I posted something on Facebook about what my kid's school did, and a lot of people saw my post. And to make a long story short, the principal, the rabbi of the community, actually called me last, oh God, 2 nights ago, the rabbi of the school. And yeah, he had a whole conversation with me. And the idea was about technology and banning things from the school, and I wasn't for that. At least the way they wanted to do it. And what was amazing is like a lot of people were upset at my post, but I said, yeah, you know what? If you want to get things done, it is what it is. But the rabbi called me, and now he asked me to be on the technology committee,
Boom.
right? Because I'm not going to sit there and
He
you
knows you
know,
have a voice and you have an opinion
right?
that's like,
Yeah,
we have to listen to this as well, right?
yeah. So it's pretty awesome. I love it. I love.
It's a Jewish school. Is that what it
Yeah,
was? Okay. I was
A
gonna say
Jewish.
all those probably white suburban bitches got on and like that's what really happens though. Like
Yes,
that's
no, no.
it's a big problem.
This was. I understand what the rabbi and the school was trying to do. However, the way they worded this email that came out, and the way they worded what they want to see happen, was really poorly done. And when I say poorly done, I'm not talking about, oh, the grammar was atrocious and it just didn't make sense. The concept of what they were trying to do was poorly thought out. It was not a common sense approach to a real issue that needs to be addressed. So because of that, and look, my kids are freaking angels. Okay, my kids, you can ask anyone in my community and say who are the best, the most well behaved kids in my community. Everyone will tell you the Remer kids. Right, my kids are amazing. Um, so my problem with this, what the email said, really didn't have to do with my kids. It really had to do with the direction the school was going in, which my kids are at that school. So, I said something, and the rabbi, the principal, called me, and we had a fantastic 45-minute discussion about it. And at the end of the discussion, my wife is terrified because my wife's a teacher, and she's actually just left the school that posted this, where my kids go, just poached my wife from a different school.
Oh,
So
okay.
my wife is going to this school next year, starting next year. And my
That
wife's
the
like,
rabbi called you from?
yes. So my wife is like, my wife is like, damn it. Now you're going to cost me my job and I didn't even start yet. I'm like, no, no. I said, your job is going to be fine. Don't worry about your job. And then like all of a sudden my wife sees that I got this phone call and she hears me talking to the rabbi. My wife goes downstairs. She comes back 40 minutes later. And she's like, okay, do I still have a job? I said, not only do you still have a job, I'm on the technology committee. And she goes, how does that even happen? Every single time I think that you're about to tank and that like we're gonna have to move to a new state, you come out on top. She goes, I don't understand how you do it every time.
Because
I'm
you're
like,
right. Because you're right.
I said, that's what I told my wife. I'm like, it's very simple. You know how I told you, I tell you all the time that the world has no common sense. She goes, yeah. I said, when you're the sole voice of reason, and you actually
Listen.
and you actually listen and lay out your arguments in a proper and cohesive manner, I'm like, people will listen to you and
Well,
people will respect that. So my wife's like, I just don't get how I just don't. So good times.
good. Good for you for speaking your mind and
Yeah.
sticking with it. All right. Well, we were 2 hours and
Yeah.
40 minutes. That's pretty good.
Not bad for a one-on-one, huh? Not even
Yeah.
having a bunch of guests and
Well,
stuff
it's so
like
fun
that.
to talk to people who are like, we have so much similarities, right? Like as humans, but then there are a lot of similar, or that we're not similar in a lot of ways too. I just love that shit about humanity. Like, if you can realize the like basics, like you can talk to anybody. I don't know.
Yeah, and also like when you when you're when both people are somewhat interesting, like
Yeah,
I once I
we
once
are pretty cool. Let's say
now we are I once did a podcast that because like, yeah, usually my podcast lasts like an hour and a half, and I'm not lying to you. We were on for 30 minutes.
and it was like boring already, or it
Oh
just
my
wasn't going
god.
anywhere.
Like
Yeah.
this it was like, oh, so you write children's book. I'm like, yes. okay, cool, cool, cool. Can you tell us about your books? I'm like, well, is there a specific one you want me to start with? How about the safety book? So I'll tell him about the safety book, and the next thing you know, like I'm done after about a minute and a half background, and
Right.
he's like, okay, cool, cool. And then like he takes on a notebook, and I'm like, dude, you've got to speed this up. You've got to just like at least have something flow better.
You should be able
Uh,
to have conversation, for Christ's
oh
sake.
my God,
Or
this guy literally must have had like a whole notebook of questions, and um, yeah, oh God, it's probably one of the most brutal. I mean, I get it. The guy was pretty new to podcasting, so I get it, but like if you're gonna do a podcast, you have to be able to, and
you'll
you're
be
gonna
able to
have
talk.
guests.
You'll be able
Yeah,
to
you
talk to
you
people.
got to be able to talk. At least be able to have a somewhat flowing conversation for more than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
I can, yeah, and I'm like, I've had such a crazy life. I can pretty much talk about anything. Like it's so like wild that I'm like, yeah, we can talk about whatever happens. I'm sure I know something about it. So, all right, you want to
awesome.
plug some of your stuff again if you want.
Um, yes. So across all social media, you can find me at the Pew Pew Jew. On Instagram, the Pew Pew Jew and the Pew Pew Jew backup. You will see more of my stuff if you go to my backup account because my main account is being throttled back by 96%. Um, so yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, all over. My website's thepewpewjew.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yes, everyone follow him. We got to get him big on Twitter because for some reason I am, and it's me. But thank you for everyone knows me, Desert Daddy, the Desert Daddy on Twitter, Forest Mommy here. But yeah, thank you. Thanks everyone for watching, and this is such a fun conversation. I love it.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah,
And we
seriously,
don't
you
even
have
have
an
to.
open invite anytime too.
Cool, cool.
All right, bye everybody.
See you later.
Bye.